Okay, so what are we thinking here? What's the first one?
Oh, okay. So the
I
first
love this drawing
one,
down here, by the way, this alligator.
yeah, I was thinking more of like the round, smoother type of design, like a more like kid friendly mainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a nice little drawing. You just made that up?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, what's the first one?
Okay, so the first one, well, the idea I had was like first for some reason I just wanted to like go on with like the pet alligator concept. So on one side it's supposed to be like this kid that's bringing in their pet rock, I guess, which is like more tied in with nature and just kind of I just went with that.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, what I wanted to do as well is like for the kid to be with the alligator, but the alligator being like a pet as well. But I kind of like did a funny thing where the alligator like acts like a dog in a way, like wagging its
Sure.
tail and all, like, and the kid patting its head or something.
Yeah, that's not
And the
bad.
kid with the pet rock is like just looking like at the other kid in a weird way, although like
Okay.
their pet is technically weird as well.
Okay, so what's this one here, the second one?
Oh, okay. So on one side, there's just like this normal kid that just brings in like a butterfly in a box. I don't know. That's the only
Okay,
thing I came
here's
up
what
with.
I was talking about last week or whatever it was, where I say don't iterate the same idea because this idea is basically the same idea as this idea, right?
Yeah. Well, I was just throwing down some stuff at the
Yeah, I
time.
get it. But I
So
want to get 5 distinct ideas. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And you can iterate on them. That's fine. I just want to make sure there's 5 solid ideas in there. Okay. Because this is just different staging of this idea. Okay. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
Okay. What's this one?
Well, it's just pretty much the alligator on a leash. That
Okay.
pretty much, yeah.
That's fine. What's this one here?
Oh, well, the kid is just like in a big wagon. He's pulling the alligator to school, and the neighbors are just there staring at both him and the alligator.
Okay. That could work. What's this one here? In class, crowd of kids. Again. And what's the alligator doing there?
Uh, wait, which one? I'm
This
sorry.
one right here.
Oh, he's kind of like in a corner, I think.
Why
Yeah.
is he in the corner?
Well, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to. At first, I wanted to do like this kind of like tight fit type of thing where they kind of feel like squished into like this one room with a big alligator. But
Yeah. So you just playing off the
so,
size thing?
yeah,
Yeah, that can work. I think that
and
there
the
has to
other,
be some sort of reaction, obviously, with the kids and all that, right?
yeah,
So you'd have to push. I mean, I don't mind it at this scale or whatever, it's simple, but I think there's got to be some reaction to him being so big in the room and all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
And then here's one where she's just presenting the alligator, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Again, I think just to tie the text a little bit,
Mm.
I might, because, okay, so the text is, when your teacher says to bring this, and this, they don't mean bring an alligator. So that means there's some sort of reaction to the alligator, obviously, right?
Yeah,
So it'd probably be the same thing. There probably need to be some sort of reaction. Maybe the teacher's just drawing back or whatever it is. Okay.
yeah,
Because I think you got to get that flavor of what the text says is in relation to she doesn't mean bring this in. So in other words, there's some sort of obviously if I brought an alligator to school in grade school, crazy stuff would happen, right?
yeah,
Even if it was just them reacting to it. I love this drawing right here.
yeah. I really just wanted to get a better look at what I wanted it to sort of look like the alligator itself.
Yeah, I don't care how many tangents you go down. I get it. I just want to get my 5 ideas. And I've got these 2 are 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5. Oh, there's 5 ideas here. Wait, no, 4. That's fine. Okay, so What do you guys think? Which one? I think some of these are pretty good. What do you guys think?
I like the one when the neighbors are staring at the kid, the fourth one. I think that'd be a really fun painting.
I kind of agree with that. It could be really colorful. It's outside. You know what I mean?
I like how it's got a lot of like contrasting like straights and curved shapes. It's got a lot of contrasting elements.
Yeah, it looks like it could be like fun and bright and vibrant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I kind of like the school lady on top.
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, I like these. I mean, there's probably none of these I don't like. Like I go, I don't like any of these. I mean, I can't. There's something in all of them that I think has value. Again, like, go ahead.
Sorry. I think the leash one would be really cute if you add the staging from the neighbors one and get like a reaction.
I also think, and I always say this with this kind of thing, so hang on. I might also make him a little bigger. Let's take this. Hang on. Let's take this. You know, is the kid, what happened? Okay, there it is. Oh, that's weird. Because you have a horizontal, this is almost square. If I take this, oops. I don't want that brush, hang on. Extend this out, and then maybe the kid is doing this, digging their heels in, and the alligator's sort of pulling them forward. Does that make sense? So it's sort of, you know what I mean? Because it's a little kid, and I'd probably play off the size of the alligator. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't, where are you at?
I'm right here.
Does that make sense though, to add a secondary element to it, or an element that stages it a little more?
Yeah, I'll see if I can combine the other two, that one and the other one with the neighbors in a way.
Yeah. So you're going to go after this one. I don't know what's going on with my computer right now. Hang on. Oh, that's why. Hang on a sec, you guys. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you're going to kind of concentrate on that and riffing on this a little bit, right? I don't mind it in the wagon though. I don't think that's bad either. Right?
Yeah.
Are you going to play with the size of the alligator at all?
Yeah, maybe, possibly. If I can pull that off. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it might be fun if that alligator is, you know, if they're sitting in this wagon, you know, and it's something very big. And then I can get the, you know, playing around with the little feet and all that kind of stuff sticking out. And plus I'm getting that big size relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't sound enthusiastic.
I do. I'm just really like thinking about like the whole thing, like how I would approach it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got what's your major?
Well, I've been really indecisive, to be honest, but someone just recommended me just to like try out with just illustration, I guess. But in terms,
I mean, it looks to me like you've got some pretty good drawing skills to me.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay, cool.
I mean, this is a nice drawing down here, and I think most of these are pretty nice. Like this is
yeah.
nice. This is.
Well,
Yeah,
the
these
only
two are
thing I
really
can
appealing.
Yeah, the only thing I can say really is that I'm kind of more of like driven to like the kind of like visual storytelling type of,
That's
I
illustration.
don't know how to say. Yeah, kind of like that. And yeah, I've been trying to create as much story as I can through my art
The
and
next
everything.
project we're going to do will make sense for you because that I'm not going to give you the text. You're going to come up with the story yourself. Okay.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. I'll have
This
fun
will
with
this will
that.
be the only one well, actually I'll give you text on an editorial thing, but the second one I'm not going to give you text. It's just going to be a personal thing.
Oh, okay.
And when I say personal thing, I don't mean some deep dark personal thing. I mean just your own story.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like it.
People hear personal story and they think I'm prying into the personal life, which I'm not. Okay, hang on. These are really, how small are they? I'm not going to complain about them being small, actually.
Oh yeah, my bad. I did them maybe 1.5 by like 2 inches or so.
That's not too bad. Okay, what's happening here?
I was thinking about the kid introducing the alligator to the class. The teacher is kind of in the gutter. Didn't plan that one too well. She's like,
that's no big deal.
yeah, she's like, scared. She's like reeling back. The kids are loving it, and I wanted to connect the two by using the alligator's tail to kind of wrap around the room.
How else can you have the kids interacting with the alligator?
I felt that was an issue in this one too. So a lot of my a lot of the other thumbnails kind of cover that. But I would probably have like kids picking up the tail in their chair and stuff like that if I was going to run with that one.
I had somebody last term, and I'll try and find it. I mean, I guess it's not going to matter, but they took a while to stage it because it was kind of tricky to figure out. But they had the alligator really big in the room. And like, I think the tail coming down like that or something. And the kids were like sliding down this with their arms up.
Yeah, I have one like that.
Like
where
a
like
slide,
the alligator's like running or walking around and the kids are like hanging off of it and like, it's like moving and I was trying to show like momentum. That's how I was thinking about it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do, I'd have to see it. Where is it? Is it on here?
Yeah, it's on the second page there.
Oh, second
toward
page.
The bottom.
Here?
Not the bottom. It's top right on that page.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of that idea. What I liked about the one that they did is that they tied the slide idea to it, which is very elementary school, right?
I thought about doing it, but it also felt like something that a lot of people would have done in the past. And I didn't want to, I wanted to try and be.
The only way I'd worry about that is if it was something that was like a total cliche.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. There's a million of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I did think about it, and I thought, I feel like someone else is probably going to do them sliding. So how about them, like the class as a whole riding the elevator?
Some of you are going to land on the same ideas. Okay, it's inevitable. And I'm not going to fault anybody. I'm not going to go, oh, you got to change it. It's fine. I mean, you're going to land on certain ideas probably because they're just going to present themselves to you in anything you work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd argue because I've been watching way more TV than I usually do, like everybody else is because of the lockdown. And it's weird how much stuff you watch and you go, okay, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is how this movie's ending. I've had enough of this movie. I know what's going to happen because it's just cliche written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that, to me, that's a little bit different. I think, I don't worry too much about like, oh, somebody probably did this because that means I don't know that they have. So it means it's probably not a cliche. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump back. Because I like the idea of, the teacher sort of flipping out a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, my dog used to go to school. He lasted for about 2 weeks. And he was just a crazy dog and he'd always get out. And finally, he just started sleeping or he started waiting for me outside of the door in the classroom. And I thought it was awesome. And then he'd play with everybody at recess and everything. And finally, my teacher goes, you can't have your dog at school every day. And I go, why not? She goes, I was attacked by a dog. They terrify me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which sucked because it was really fun. But I mean, it was that same thing. All the kids thought it was awesome. Boogie play with him at lunch and all that stuff. And the whole time I didn't realize that she was terrified of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was a crazy looking dog. Okay, what's this one here?
I thought it would be interesting to take a different, not like serious tone with the story, but you know, what if the kid found the hatchling and the mother was looking for the hatchling? So I put the mother outside the window.
Other story. Right?
I was thinking more about like the negative aspect of bringing the alligator to school. So I thought, you know, what?
Yeah,
if,
but all of a sudden you'd open this 2-page spread and you go, wait, why is that alligator there? You know what I
that's
mean?
understandable. Yeah.
You got to really stick to your story. I think really the hard part. Here's one of the reasons that I think another reason why I wanted to do this class. What people tend to do, especially in entertainment design, but even in illustration, if it's allowed, is they'll just draw what they want to draw. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you give them and I've seen this even professionally. We give somebody a project and they do their thing and they have a thing. And then you go, well, wait a minute. I asked you to do this, this, and this. And they go, yeah, but this is cool. And it's like, it has nothing to do with what I asked you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they keep defending. It's like, and I always would go, you just want to draw this. Like I go, you need to just go do that then. You know what I mean? Like you can't work here because I need you to actually produce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to stay on track. And it's hard. I think it's hard. Now, if you have, you know, if you've developed for this type of illustration, they're not usually going to come to you and go, hey, we want you to do a book like Marie Sendak. They're going to hire you for your style as applied to this story they're going to hand you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will submit a book, you know, their own book to like a publisher, and the publisher will turn down the book. But then, I don't know, 6 months later, they go, hey, remember that guy who handed in that book transcript or that dummy? That guy might be perfect for this project. And they'll ask you to work with the writer on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, this one. What's this one?
I was thinking about the alligator being a bit more like wild, not like attack the class wild, but like he just kind of looks wonky. So it's basically the first thumbnail, but with like a different take on the alligator. So I just kept kind of thumbnailing after that because I realized it was the same idea.
We played around with like pushing the kind of scared level of it in this class. And you can do that, but I think you've got to do it in a way where they're not terrified and it's silly and funny, right?
Yeah.
I think the whole thing has to be silly, right?
Yeah.
Because we determined, you know, it's what 5 to whatever it was we said 5 to 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go back and look at what the category, how the age breakdowns are, because I mean it's probably changed these days. Like I don't know, you can't push like children's books as far along as you used to be able to, because the kids are they're just more in tune with everything. They're a little more sophisticated than we were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the television that like my generation was looking at, it's really unsophisticated. Like what passed for entertainment was kind of shocking. What's this one here?
You're looking at bottom left, right?
Yeah.
I thought back to the hatchling idea and thought about how maybe the teacher would like try to take the hatchling back because, you know, it's
Another
a hatchling.
story.
Yeah, I figured that would be your answer after the last one.
And then what's this one here?
The alligator is like drawing for the kids and they're like sitting around watching him draw on the piece of paper.
There's something interesting about drawing, but that's probably just because I like drawing, right?
Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of cool if like I was looking more at like preschool to like really early elementary school. And you know, they had like arts and crafts time where like people would like do the macaroni art and they'd like, you know, draw on the pieces of paper of crayons. And I thought that maybe there could be a scene in this book where the kids are just like wowed by the alligator's drawing skills and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea because we talked about this last term. The idea when you talk about show and tell, the word "shows" in there, right?
Yeah.
So and some people went down the rabbit hole of the alligator being on a unicycle and juggling and kind of putting on a show, and the kid's like, "Hey," you know.
Yeah.
So it kind of feeds into that same kind of idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where maybe the alligator has some amazing skill that's kind of fun. You know, the only thing I'd push back on is like, where's the, they don't mean to bring your alligator. Where's that part? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was gonna try and sneak the teacher in near the gutter on the right hand side, that big open spot right there. I was gonna have her like kind of looking kind of weird and sideways at the group, like, hey, this doesn't look right.
You can have her looking concerned, right?
Yeah, I didn't know how to depict that. How would you go about that?
I think that's all facial expression, but it's also body language. You know,
Okay.
maybe the hands are here, or you know, there's the head's turned a little bit. You know, it's nuanced expression a little bit, right?
Okay. Yeah, because now what I'm thinking is I can put a teacher back there with a concerned body language and maybe like a kid pointing out the alligator, like he's tattling on them for having the alligator in the class.
But I like the idea of the alligator having some wow skill.
Yeah.
Like, if you can make that, there's a thread there, there's an idea there, okay? Because I haven't had anybody do it with like drawing or whatever. It was always more of a big, you know, kind of showbizy statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I think there might be something to that, or maybe it's not drawing, maybe it's some other weird thing. I don't know. I like drawing.
Yeah,
it sounds fun. And again, you know, of course we're gonna like drawing. It's a room full of illustrators, right?
Yeah.
But I think there could be something. I'd iterate on that idea.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna plan on doing a lot more sketches of whatever thumbnail that we kind of felt good about.
That's kind of the process. You got to get a kernel of a couple ideas and then start to mine them a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then this one.
I
like this kind of scenario where the kids are all sort of, you know.
Yeah, like not like terrified, but just
Right.
like, hey, there's an alligator eating a sandwich at the table.
Yeah, so
kind
maybe
of look.
again, that was where you're kind of sideways looks and they're looking at each other and like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. And then, but I would also put them, maybe the kid and the alligator are down here and all the other kids are all bunched up down at the other end of the table.
Okay. Like
Does that make
they're like they're trying to stay away from the alligator, kind of. Okay.
Because you really got to make that visual statement that they're like tripping out on him, you know?
Yeah. And then the one to the right of that, I have kids that are just riding the alligator. Like the alligator is kind of like swooping across the page, and I have like kids hanging off of its tail and on its back and like climbing on it and stuff. Kind of like I've seen kids do that like a farm with a horse. And I thought it was really interesting.
Fun image, but now again, you got to bring in that subtext of, you know, why that it's not a good thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when I say not a good
thing,
you know
that.
what I mean? It's just in a silly way, right? Last time we really explored everybody sort of going all the way to one end of the spectrum, people being terrified, and then it all, you know, over to here, and then it ended up, you know, somewhere in the middle where it was silly and fun, right?
Yeah, I don't want to do too much terror stuff.
Well, you can't really with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm real like weird about children's books anyway. Not weird about them, but I like them to stay innocent and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of books right now that are coming out and they're very messagey. And I think back when I was a kid, I would have been like, I don't want a message in my damn children books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to get lost in them. I want it to feel like an adventure or an exploration or something like, or just fun or funny or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, you could make the argument Marie Sendak's book was pretty deep psychologically, right?
What book was that?
Where the Wild Things Are is a pretty trip.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the author's name. Yeah, that's
he's
pretty
kind of the
trippy.
granddaddy of sort of modern children's books. He's like completely revered, you know what I mean? And that book is interesting because that book is a perennial, it's a evergreen, okay? Every generation gets into that book, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it, it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure if you brought me that book, you know, if I was the publisher and you brought me that book, I'd be like, what the hell is this book about? Like, kids aren't going to get this. You know what I mean? And look at it. It's just out of the park for like 50 years. That book has been a bestseller, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I like seeing that, you know, and it really makes you think about how you're evaluating things. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Not that I haven't been wrong about a lot of product. Because I have. Okay.
The last two here are kind of the same idea. I figured, you know, if you're going to do a show and tell, you have to find what you're going to show and tell. So maybe they're out in nature or something, like it's an outdoor class, and they stumble across this alligator, and his friend is trying to console him on, you know, don't take the alligator to class.
It gets too complicated.
Okay.
You're sort of creating a sub narrative that becomes an invisible sub narrative because the visual has to match that text.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very simple. You got to remember, this is when you're talking about kids this age, it's a real fast, simple read, or it should be, right?
Yeah.
And what's this one?
Oh,
catching
that was,
alligator.
Yeah, like the alligator's like in the water, and he's like trying to.
I always like that visual. I just kind of go. It sort of it starts to like go. Okay, this is the next book where it's the origin story of how this kid met the alligator.
I could see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I love the visual of like him looking up at the kid, and I love that visual. But I just go, is it speaking to the text, right?
Yeah.
So on these, I think I would play with this a little harder. It'd be really fun to do that big swoop.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the way, you know, the head could be here. It goes out of frame and swings over. And look, here's a cool thing right here. Look. That's sort of similar. Oh, shit. Oh. See if I can find a decent size of this thing. So see how they've got the giraffe neck coming and going out of frame and then swinging back into frame on the right?
Yeah.
Like, I love that kind of stuff. Okay. So, you know, think that way too. You know, these things can go off the frame. Also, you could go, somebody already, the last one I looked at had a good example of this, but let's say, I'm just going to make this up. Hang on. You could also, in that same vein, did I keep my window open? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. You know, what if it is, you know, and I'm just using the wagon as a, you know, and we do this really big alligator. And maybe, you know, you frame it out where the alligator breaks the frame. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I saw a skit once of like a guy who was eating a banana, and like he you couldn't see his face, but you saw like giant globs of banana falling into the frame. So something like that.
Yeah, there's just so many fun ways to stage it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, there could be a tree going off here and a few things break the frame, or maybe these are just silhouette-y tops, you know, and it creates sort of a illustrative boxy kind of thing. And here's it's way too high, but here's the, whatever it is, the ground plane and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of ways you can, and by the way, if something's breaking the frame, it's also pushing the idea of verticality, and it's also pushing the idea of how big it is, right?
Yeah.
Or if it goes out of frame, it can't be contained in the frame, right?
Yeah.
So you want to play with all those things. I mean, if they're appropriate, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll play around the
So play around with that one.
Liking.
What was the other one? This one?
The one next to it, and then the one above that.
This one?
Those
one?
three right there.
Maybe this one. If you can figure something out with it, and I think I'd concentrate on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
So far, so good. Good ideas. There's Andrew. Here's one. Okay, where are you at? It just says C. Kim. Where are you?
I'm right here.
There you are. Okay. All right. What are you thinking? First one.
Okay, so the first one is a tiny alligator in like a cage that the kid brings, and those are supposed to be like the top of their heads.
Looking down?
Yeah.
I think you need a bigger statement, right?
Okay.
This isn't yet going into sort of just illustrating the moment. Like sometimes, and this isn't exactly that, but sometimes people, when they're doing, starting illustration, whatever, they'll tend to just render a scene instead of sort of coming up with a concept for the scene. Does that make sense? This is a concept, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what's this one?
So he's basically holding it and showing the teacher.
Illustrating the scene, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's this one? Dragging him into school?
Dragging him out of class.
Okay, so this is another thing. This can be the kernel of an idea, right?
Mhm.
But like, maybe it's, it's the same idea. Like, I'm assuming maybe he got the teacher was like, get out of here with that thing, right?
Mhm.
But why couldn't it be, the alligator, looking kind of bummed, and the kid here? I'd always make the alligator bigger, but that's just me. And maybe they're sitting here, and here's his feet, and they're sitting on a bench right here. I know I'm drawing this very loose. And the kid's sitting here, and here's his feet. And then here is the principal's door. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's like my idea underneath it.
Oh, good. So are they, okay, so they got sent to the principal's office, right?
Yeah. And the principal's on the phone with his mom.
Oh, I like that. Now I'd stage it better though.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I think like if it's just a small alligator, I mean, again, what if the alligator just looks a little bit worried, not terrified or anything, but he's bigger. So they both look like kids that are getting scolded. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I like the idea of the phone. I like that I don't know if a kid would get that, but I kind of just like that that's sort of a aha read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you need to over explain it, but maybe there's a piece of paper here that says something that maybe explain. You don't want to over explain it.
Yeah.
But it is for kids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you put there, and I don't even know if you need it. I think I like this idea. I would just restage it.
Okay.
And then we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah. The last one is just him writing an apology letter to the teacher, and the
I kind of
alligator.
like that idea too. I mean, I like that as an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, it might be too on the nose. I might have the kid, instead of doing that, I might have the kid stand in front of a blackboard and he's already written like 100 lines and says, I will not bring my alligator to school.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do they still do that? They did that when I was a kid.
I don't think so.
No, now they make you type it.
Seriously?
You can bring it back, Mike.
Yeah, they make you type it now. They made me type it.
Wow.
I had to write it.
By the way, to make you type it. This seems kind of pointless.
I started copy pasting and
Yep.
We used
They
to have
realize-
to stay
they
after
realize-
school. You used to have to stay after school, and you'd have to write like 100 times, whatever it was. I will not do this again. It sucked.
yeah, they made me do it on a computer in the school computer lab after school as like a form of detention. So I just copy pasted it after I wrote it like twice, and then I'd copy paste the whole thing, and I just keep doing that. So they asked for 100, and I gave them like 300. And then they stopped doing it in the computer lab, and I didn't have to do it after that.
Well, now they probably get all over you because they'd say it's being mean or something. You know what I mean?
Probably. I could see that.
Which I don't agree with, but whatever. I think it should be a lot meaner to kids, actually. All right. So I think it's this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now start exploring some different staging. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep getting emails, man. Okay. Sorry. Candace, what are you looking at?
I'm on my Cinti.
You paying attention?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I draw and pay attention. Actually, it helps me to pay attention. You guys got a bunch of chat here. Hang on. Okay, good. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay. Okay, so Benton, which one because you got a lot of them.
Yeah, I do.
So let's go. Okay, so which one would you say? Let's go the top 4.
Top 4. I really like.
Hang on. Let's do this. Oops. Just so we can reference them easier.
Yep.
And by the way, always do these on yours. Because when you're talking to anybody, you know, whether it's in a class or whatever, or an art director, they just go, all right, I like 12 and I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes it easier for them. Art directors, some think they're some of them are super self-important. A lot of them are. But a lot of them actually, and I didn't find this out until I was doing it, because when they used to tell me like they don't have time for this and time for that, I'd go, what an asshole, you know? But then when I started doing that, I really didn't have any time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was always annoyed with if I had to have a meeting with, you know, for interviews and stuff like that. I'd never wanted to do that. And it would get on my nerves, you know, because it's like, I got 50 things. I don't have time for this, you know, and then you start sounding like a self-important asshole, but that's how it works. Okay. So which ones?
So I think 16 is probably like the one I really like the most. I get like a really Calvin and Hobbes kind of vibe from that one.
What's the alligator going after?
I figured he's carrying like a stake on a fishing pole or something.
Is that to lure him?
Yeah, he's luring the gator into class, and I figured in the background I could put like scared kids and stuff like that in, like, or shocked teachers in the back of the background there.
I don't know if you, in this case, it might be kind of, I don't know. I mean, you could play around with the staging. I don't know if you need anybody in the background. The only thing I'd say is that usually, and I don't know, it comes down to a staging thing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the kid. I like the pose and all that, but it's like, what's keeping him from just grabbing the stake?
That's fair.
You know, and a lot of times they'll have somebody like on a donkey, they'll have them sitting here and they're holding the thing here.
Yeah, and I've got one like that, like 3 frames to the right.
I love it when you guys are ahead of me. I do.
Yeah, once I had that idea, I played with a bunch of different like iterations of.
Well, here it is right here.
The fishing pole. Yeah.
Now, one thing I like about this, it's just a little bit menacing, but not too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you want to have a little bit of that, you know, obviously bringing alligator to school is insane. But, you know, again, we don't want it to be scary, right?
Yeah.
But this also kind of makes me go, I don't know. There's something there about, and maybe you did that too, where if some kid was, and I don't know how that would stage, but there was some kid who's not the alligator's guy. I don't know. Maybe the alligator's about to snatch something like his lunch or something. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Because that gives you a little bit of the, like, it's silly, but it also gives you a little bit of the, don't bring an alligator to a classroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's staged, but they don't have lunch boxes anymore, right?
No, but I mean, you could do I think a brown paper bag is pretty universal.
Is it? What do kids bring
Yeah.
their lunch to school in?
Who knows?
That's weird.
Gucci bags.
Uber Eats.
Yeah. Coach bags.
And,
Okay,
and I
so
also
there's,
liked
Go
I
up.
also liked Go Up right there. Those ones right above there where 13, 14 with the gator
Okay.
like snapping at the teacher.
I mean, that could be the classic thing where they rip the back of their pants out.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. You got to figure out a way to stage that where it doesn't feel like getting bit by a dog or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I kept playing with different stagings to try to like just explore fun ideas. See where
There's
it took me.
something to this. I really like this leg for some reason. In this
Yeah.
one. There's something to that. I just don't know how to work it yet. And there's something to him snapping at somebody or whatever, but how do you do that in a silly way?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the old classic gag is that the dog's got the guy's back of the guy's pants in his mouth or whatever. That might
Yeah,
be
like 15. I did it's biting him on the butt instead.
that can get into what Andrew was saying about it becomes a visual cliche, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a bad thing though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I think
kinda
it's a
where I'm
bad
at,
thing.
too.
I think it's a bad thing if you do it in a live action movie. Even then you could pull it off, but the kids book it's a little different.
Yeah.
I'd really try and figure out like, what do you guys think? Is there another take on that? Like how he's biting somebody?
When I pet my cat, sometimes she'll bite my hand out of like overstimulation or
Sure.
affection, and maybe something like that would be cool. I haven't seen many takes like that.
Actually, it's not overstimulation or affection. Your cat just doesn't like you.
No, the cat likes me.
Just telling you.
What if there's something coming out of his pocket, like a lanyard with his keys or something that he's pulling on? I don't know.
No, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
What if he had like socks that have like steak prints on it?
So like his socks had like a pattern or something on it, and he's going after the socks.
Yeah, like they're like turkey legs or something, like those crazy socks.
I think it's going to be too difficult for a kid to understand something like that. You know what I mean?
I could do like the I'm remembering like the Captain Hook or the Peter Pan movie where the alligator like licks his lips when he's thinking about eating Hook. And I could do something more caricature-y with the alligator like licking his lips looking at the teacher's ankle or something.
Could that teacher be carrying a donut or something?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you bring to work? You bring coffee, you bring donuts, you bring, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
There's something there. You got to kind of play with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what's going on with these?
So I was trying to play with the idea of like the kid carrying the gator in different poses. So it's iterations of the kid like carrying or holding the gator.
Sort of awkwardly.
Yeah.
I think again, if you're going to do that, that alligator has to be big.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something fun about it being huge, but not being threatening and being silly and, but it's still a big giant alligator. Like somebody did one last time, and I can't remember what the staging was or whatever, but they actually had the kid standing next to the alligator, and I can't remember why, but the alligator, the whole top of the alligator went out of frame. Right?
Yeah.
So they didn't even show it, which was kind of fun, and it worked in the staging. I don't remember what it was. What's happening here?
Just trying to like cutesy it up a little bit more and put the kid like riding on its back and all the other kids watching him ride the alligator around.
Again, you got to give me that part of your
yeah. I did that one and I was like, and then it moved right on.
Good. That's the whole point of this, isn't it? The whole point of this, man, is or not the whole point. The whole point is to get a good idea. But a real big part of this is, again, is just learning not to be precious with everything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's too much, hey, let's try and solve every one of these frames. And it's like, no, that's the point of it, is you got to get used to not thinking everything you do is fantastic. Or, you know, the drawings might be all fantastic, but it's like, I got to get to that really good idea, you know? And then what's nice about this kind of project is like, once you do that, it's all about having fun with it visually, right? You can go pretty over the top.
Yeah. Those first ones were, what if it's a giant gator and he's like pulling it by the tail?
Let me see if I have this other image too. Hang on. It's also from the same book I just showed you. Hang on. I think there was something with it. I can't remember. By the way, look at this one. All these images are small, which is really annoying. Yeah. Let me see if I can find some bigger ones. Hang on. Okay, we were talking about, I think it was Andrew. We were talking about that nuanced pose thing with the teacher. Are you there?
Yeah.
Where's Andrew?
I'm here.
Oh, this isn't the same pose, but oops, sorry. I just stumbled on this. That's why I'm bringing it up. But this is a nice pushed, nuanced pose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think the whole thrust of this book is he's really infatuated with this princess. So, you know, he's looking at her from afar and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about, that kind of pose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's like his dog in real life.
That's dynamic, right? Is kind of what you're going for.
Yeah, but it's also really neat the way he's leaning into it, and it's very readable. What he's doing, right? And also sometimes this is a good solution, just to put it stark on a page and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to find this other one. Hang on. And by the way, this watercolor technique is basically the same thing we're using. God damn it! What the hell's the problem here? Yeah, I can't find it. Oh well.
You say "damn" a little lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it really bugs me. I love being in the classroom where I can run into my office and grab books.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me that I have to find them online really fast. It's weird I can't find this image, but oh well. I guess I can't. Let's see if this one's big. But it's not. Nah, it's not. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So these are all ones where he's struggling with it.
Yeah.
This one he's struggling with it.
I tried to keep the rows kind of similar themed when I was doing my iterations, when I rearranged them on this.
See, my brain goes to, and I don't know if you can make this work because it might be too much stuff. With this getting them there might be, but I'd see the dad probably wouldn't be in on this. But you know, you got the dad
in the car with the
well, then
dad.
I could have the alligator sticking his head out of the sunroof. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they're just driving to school like that. But I don't know. The dad could be into it. Who knows? Or maybe it's the family alligator and they don't think it's a big deal. You know what I mean?
You know that there's an old man that has a federally certified emotional support alligator named Wally.
Yeah, they've put a stop to that, like on airlines and stuff. That's ridiculous to me. It's like, you don't need an alligator. Anyway, so I could have him sitting out here and the kid could be in here somewhere. just going through a neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it probably gets too far away from the text. Ooh, shit. What did I just do? Uh-oh, hang on. I just screwed up something. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Oh, crap. Hang on, you guys. I just did something really weird.
There's something wrong, or?
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can go. I just signed myself out of my thing somehow. Oh, wait, cancel. Let's try that. Okay, you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I accidentally hit the user thing and I switched it over to the FC account and I thought I was screwed. Okay, so anyway, I think that's probably too far off the story. I'd like to paint it, but oh well. And then what's happening with this one here?
It was him just I was trying to play with the idea of him pulling a gator by the tail. Just like have a more menacing, mean gator, and he's just.
This one's kind of fun, where he's kind of dragging him in.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to really get him where it's sort of dog-like, where he likes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, what's the reaction in the room, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And plus, I like the foreshortening and the weight of the tail on it. It feels weighty. Does that make sense?
Another angle you can take with this is those kids that are like just like, I guess you can say bad kids, like they're just always doing something like weird and dumb. You can have a kid kind of like that, like Sid from Toy Story dragging in the gator that's just confused.
That's
like the kid is like obviously the troublemaker of the class, and he's bringing in the gator.
That's a fun idea.
Like
a kid is like, screw you, man, I'm bringing an alligator.
Yeah, and like the alligator is like super confused, like what's going on?
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Maybe it was taking a shower and it has like a towel wrapped around its head or something, and the kid's dragging it into the classroom. I think that'd be really cool too. That's another take for you if you wanted to
play with it. I like that idea. Benton?
Yeah, I will.
It's just a different take on the same thing. So I'd play with this one now that you guys just said that. I think that's kind of fun. I'd play with this one. And I think you can play with, this one or, one of these. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I think I'd go after. Wait, what's happening here? 23.
23, I was just thinking of like the kid and the alligator crammed into the desk while they're doing the show and tell. I was just trying to play around with the
size relationship.
Yeah.
And here he's presenting.
Yeah.
There's one of those. Is that the show and tell thing?
Yeah, and I immediately was like, that's really goofy. And I
know, I like that though. I'm a big sucker for that, like show busy stuff. Okay, so you know which ones you're working on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There's nice drawings, by the way.
Thanks.
Wait, what did I just do? Oh, here we go. This one is empty, but I already went through Christine's, didn't I? Christine? You there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's an empty folder here, so I don't know what that's.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna submit it inside the folder, but I ended up submitting my file before my folder.
That's fine. If you just have one, you don't need a folder anyway. Just make sure it's your name.
Okay.
Right. Who is, hang on, get rid of this. Who is, I'm going to try and open this and, oh crap. Now I've got this weird shit on my desktop. Damn it. I think I might have totally screwed myself. Does that mean that I can't? Hang on a second. No, I'm on mine. Why am I getting this blurred desktop now? Okay, whatever. We'll get through class and I'll figure it out later. That's terrifying, though, to be honest. Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
For some reason on the meeting, it says that your video is unencrypted.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either, but that just popped up.
I don't think it means anything like dangerous. It's just I went up here to this thing up here and I switched users and now I don't know what I did. And then I signed back in, but now my desktop's all blurred, so I don't know what that means. But anyway, the hell with it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, try to give them to me not in PDF because it's just a little bit of a pain. I mean, this looks okay.
I took a picture with all of them, like in one JPEG. It's just a little bit crappier.
But... No, this is all right. It opened up. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That'll do for now. Okay. What are we thinking here?
So that one, it's like while he's presenting, he's like showing off that he can fit his head in the open mouth of the alligator. And then I have like the teacher painting, and then like the kids are like hunched over, like interested in it.
Okay, I like that. I know. And how big are these thumbnails?
I made them they're like about like 15 by 9 inches.
Yeah, you want to go much smaller.
Okay.
And then, I know this is just the idea phase, so it's not that important, but, make sure that we start, if you're going to do something, there's a very classic, I don't know, what did they do that in? They did it with lions, didn't they? Wasn't that a lion thing where the guy at Lion Tamer stick his head in the thing or whatever? And they did it with alligators too, I think.
They do it with gators too.
So I'd look at that, but I'd probably really go back as far as I can to find the people who are doing that kind of crazy stuff, like in circuses and stuff, because it'd probably be very performative. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a staging thing. Okay. I think it's a good idea though. And the teacher's got to be like, whatever she's doing. I like the idea of all the kids leaning in. Like you could stage it, where they're all leaning in. I don't know if I do it. I might try and do it in some way where it's not dead on straight. Does that make sense? Now you might have to, but I don't think you do, because one thing that I'd want to do is like, I'd want to have all these, where'd my thing go? I love the idea of everything kind of swooping in, and the kid's doing whatever he's doing here. And I'm just putting shapes for that. And then I'd probably have to move it over a little bit. Hang on. So maybe here's the kid, here's the alligator, and then maybe the teacher's over here or something. And then I can get all these kids leaning in. So the whole composition's pulling into that visual. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
I'm here.
Okay. That makes sense though?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I really think that'd be fun for, because all those arrows pointing at that thing would really, and then what I'd probably do too, if I did that, is this whole mass of kids or however you did that, I'd probably just do them as one silhouette, maybe one color silhouette with some line work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's just my take on it. What's happening here?
So it's like the kid getting into class with the alligator, and then all the other kids are like scared in the back, and then the teacher is looking at her disapprovingly, and the alligator is scared of the teacher.
Yeah, see, I think that's the key, is that the alligator's scared of the teacher. right?
Mhm.
But I think the alligator again needs to be big.
Okay.
You know, there's something about this big thing looking very sheepish and scolded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tried to like just do different sizes for each thumbnail just because I just was trying to see what looks good or not.
You know, but I'd also like have the kids, you know, more of a crowd back here. I might even, because you can go a
I
little
thought
over.
of putting them all at one corner.
Yeah, you could have one up on top. You could have one. God dang it! I keep pulling a guides. Hang on. You know, here maybe you could play a little bit. Maybe there's a light fixture and there's a kid up on the two kids up on the light fixture getting away from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to really push that idea that they're all. I love this one where this one's peeking out. Maybe they got their hands here. That kind of thing, you know. But I mean, I know this is just an idea sketch, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Show and tell, right?
Yeah, this one I had like the kind of idea that somehow the kid got the alligator into the school like in his backpack, and then when he like finally reveals the alligator, it just like springs out of his bag.
I like that. And I like the whole ta-da, you know.
Yeah, because he's like really proud of himself.
Well, the teacher in here, this case, I might just do the thing where maybe she's like, oh God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and the one with the thing in the mouth, I think they always have their hands like this and they're sticking their head in.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, there was some guy years ago, you can probably find it, where he was doing one of those stupid alligator things. And he was, I don't like those things. I feel like they're just tormenting the alligator. But
yeah,
he was like, hey, talking to the crowd and everything. And I don't think he had something in his hand or something. And that alligator just went in a lightning quick, just goes whoop and clamped his whole arm. And like once they clamp on your arm, you're going to lose your arm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of think
I've seen that.
Kind of deserved it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's happening here? Telling her to leave?
Not exactly leave, but she's just trying to get the alligator out. It's kind of like the no, this wasn't what you're supposed to do kind of thing.
Too literal.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And you got a bunch of better ideas. I'm trying to find out which one I haven't seen. Okay, here.
I think there's only one other one. Yeah, this was just my first one on like how it would look like if the kid was presenting.
Yeah, again, it's a little too literal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I honestly, with that one, I'm just kind of playing with like, what does the classroom look like?
What is happening here?
Okay, so the alligator is doing like tricks on one side, and then the kid is like showing him off. The teacher's just kind of like, really?
No, okay, there's something here with the apple though, right?
Mm-hmm. Like he's balancing it on his tail or like something.
I know,
like
but
that.
there's something there with the whole idea of giving a teacher an apple.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, nobody ever gives me apples. But you know, is the teacher sort of put off by this, you know, and then the alligator's leaning in like, hey, giving her an apple, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like trying to win her over.
Yeah. Like I thought it'd be like he's looking pretty cheeky right there. So
okay, did I get through all of them?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so the one I think I'd work on, you got a couple good ones. This one with staging, not that one, so let's get rid of that one. What happened? Okay, so there's that one, so we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that one. Not that one. This one, there's something here. So play with that one. Get smaller though.
Okay.
The problem with working big, there might be something here if you could stage it right and get the right poses. So it's a 3. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
have no idea what happened with my computer. Oh, you did have them right here. Shit. Oh, well.
Yeah, like I said, I had one like that, but it is kind of a crappier picture.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as I can see them, I'm okay. I'll get more fussy about them later on. Oh, Amelia.
Hello. I'm excited. I had a lot of fun.
Good. You should have fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we thinking with the first one?
Oh, the first one, I did that one later on. It was just them in the car, but I think maybe I'll do like some kind of expression on the parent that's like disapproving.
But the parent would be driving. If they're disapproving, they wouldn't do it.
Maybe like begrudgingly taking the I don't know. Okay, we can move on.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to.
What's the second one?
Okay. Alligator bit a chunk of the desk out, and the teacher's pointing at it like, "Who did this?" And the kid's just shrugging, and the alligator's behind him like, "Oh no."
You could do, there's something there. I don't think it's so, I get a little leery when it's sort of like, I'm pointing at this, and you know, it's sort of like, I want to push it a little more conceptually.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea of the bite out of it.
Okay.
Right? There's something to that. And there's something to like how do you show that there's disapproval going on? Does the teacher not know the alligator's there yet? Like, what the hell's this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so what's this one?
He's like dragging the alligator into the class, and the teacher doesn't like it, and the kids are just like leaning in, looking like, ooh.
Okay. What's this one?
The teacher's like upset. Oh, by the way, all the squiggly lines is where like I'm gonna put text and stuff. So
keep that because it's really universal, to be honest.
Okay.
You're just kind of doing this.
The teacher's scolding them, and the alligator's hiding behind the desk, afraid.
Okay. Little on the nose, right?
Okay.
What's this one?
He's riding him to school, and he's waving at the bus, and like the kids are leaning out the window, like, what the hell?
Well, I think kids like. I mean, I guess if you were in the classroom with it, you might be all flipped out or whatever. But like if I saw somebody bring an alligator to school and as a kid, I would have thought that was totally cool. You know what I mean?
I mean,
especially if I was in the safety of the bus, I'd be like, yeah, you know.
I can do that. Like they're cheering out the windows and stuff.
Why can't they be taking the bus and he's on top of the bus? Because he's too big to fit in the bus.
Oh, I can do that. That's cute.
Okay, but the bus is going down the hill, so you have to have the alligator making the bus like pop a wheelie or something as it's going down the hill.
Maybe. I think it's just enough of that visual. Just, could be a big 2-page spread of this crazy thing, right?
Okay.
I mean, maybe, try it. What's this one?
Got like a little cop car behind or something.
Yeah, I mean, just play with it. Like just now, iterate on the idea, right? Because the thing is, if you're working with somebody and that's the kind of conversations you have. It's just like that, where they're like, I just got the idea from looking at your thing, right? Does that make sense? And then you take the idea and run it further. You just constantly passing the baton back and forth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm at it. It's really interesting when you're working with people or in this classroom setting, whatever. That's why sometimes I'm asking people, right? how much you'll come up with something. You'll be working on something. Maybe you're sitting at home working on something. Bring it in the office and you kind of hit a wall. You're like, man, there's just no more ideas here. And then you bring it into your team and go, hey, you guys, look at this. I was coming up with this. And they'll come up with 50 great ideas. They'll look at your thing and go, why didn't you do this? And then we see it go, oh my God, that's totally obvious. You know what I mean? But that's the beauty of working with people that are good. You know what I mean? And be smart enough to get out of your own way. Don't ever hang on to an idea. Like when you're working in a collaborative environment, best idea wins, and usually everybody's contributed something to it somehow, even if it's just inspiring somebody to say something about something. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I always just love that. I love that creative environment. It's one of the reasons I like this class, because we get to talk a lot about creativity, about the creative part of it and sort of pushing it along. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Which, and this point, we're not worried about anything other than good ideas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the great reasons to surround yourself with other artists.
Absolutely. Good ones. You know what I mean? Put yourself in situations that are terrifying. You know what I mean? There's jobs that I took that I was terrified to take, okay? Because I thought I was going to walk in and just fall flat on my face. You know what I mean? And then you get in there and it's everything you thought. It's like, these people are monster good. And it just ups your game. You know what I mean? It just ups your game. And then sometimes you go in there and you go, as good as these people, man. These are all monster people, but I'm their boss. You know what I mean? So, but surround yourself with, you know, and just in the school environment, you know, make sure you guys are, and I think you guys do a lot, you know, talking and collaborating and, you know, just going out and sketching, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's this one here?
He's presenting that the alligator, and then the kids are like riding it and stuff.
What's the teacher doing?
Like angry, disapproving.
And then what's happening here?
Which one? Oh, he's waking up and the alligator's like ready for him. Like he's excited to go to school. He's holding his backpack up.
Okay, so again, what my question would be, what's the not bring your alligator to school part?
I don't know. I just thought it was cute.
Because I like this. I love this visual.
Mm-hmm.
But and sometimes that's the bad thing. Sometimes you have a great visual and you go, man, I want to paint that. But it's like, does it make sense? You know what I mean?
No.
So if you can add that element, it would make sense, right?
Yeah.
I have an idea for you for that one.
What's that?
Okay.
A lot of people right now wake up, put on some clothes, and then do Zoom, right? Why not have the teacher looking through the webcam and seeing the alligator?
Because I think this moment's going to pass.
That's true.
Will pass, right?
Yeah.
Like my girl, it's really interesting you said that, because my girlfriend said this today. She goes, when they do movies in the future and they do them from this time period, she goes, all the scene, just, you know, when you see a movie and it's like, I don't know, the 20s and people are wearing like rabbit skin, you know, time period stuff, right? Our time period stuff is everybody wearing masks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you want to do a movie,
empty streets.
Huh?
And empty streets.
Yeah, like all that stuff, you know. And then people like 50 years from now or whatever are going to go, why was everybody wearing a mask? I mean, maybe they'll know because it'll just be historical knowledge, but they might not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the 1920 pandemic. So
I didn't.
It's a lot of people will probably in like, you know, 100 years from now not have any kind of context for this.
Yeah, and they'd be like, why are all the restaurants closed? Like, why is everybody wearing, you know what I mean? It's just, it's weird.
Yeah.
It'll
So with that gator in the bedroom, you could put like a parent in a doorway saying no.
But then the
Like-
gator never gets to the
I
class.
was thinking
Yeah.
maybe like he, the parents like pulling his tail or something, like off screen, like, and he's like trying to claw on.
What if it's like nap time at a preschool and the alligator came into the class to wake up the kid, and the teacher sees the alligator and is like flipping out because there's an alligator in the classroom?
Andrew keeps wanting to write a different book. Right? But I don't mind you thinking out loud like that. I think it's good because sometimes there's a little kernel of something in there. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Think about it. Because, I mean, I love the visual and everything.
Yeah.
How come nobody has a girl bringing the alligator to school?
I thought it was cliche because I thought like everyone before would have done a girl because it's like contrast, I guess. They
I
do
get
like
it.
a little girl with the
Okay, that's a
tutu.
good answer. What's this one?
You know, he's petting him in class, and I thought it would be like a sweet moment, like the kids are just looking. and
But
he's
you're not
just-
giving me the text,
Yeah,
right?
unfortunate. Then I can just change the teacher. Yeah, it was just.
I think if you were doing that, it'd have to be sort of the alligator and the kid. I don't know, almost being like trying to win the teacher over a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
The
I
alligator
just.
being extra cutesy to sort of win the teacher over, maybe.
Mhm.
But I don't know,
I
that
just
might be getting
don't
too
know how.
complicated for a
Yeah,
kid.
that's what I was thinking.
You got to be really careful with that. Okay, what's this one?
He's just dragging him in, and like the teacher's screaming because she's scared. And yeah, I don't know.
That's sort of illustrating the moment a little bit. We got to get a little more conceptual, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I think, I mean, there could be something with this one. There could be something with the bus. There's a lot of things to me with the bus.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing you could do for the bedroom one, where you can have a window and that the crocodile is like peeking his head through the window, and it kind of a hint that the kid had been hiding the alligator in the backyard.
Man, it's sort of a different story though, right? I mean, this is illustrating, what is it, 2 sentences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also know that there would be narrative leading up to this and narrative leading out of it, okay? So we don't have to tell the whole story in these 2 pages, but we do want to kind of nail that text a little bit, right? It's pretty simple that, like, if you brought an alligator to school, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, right? And a teacher probably would lose their mind, but I mean, that's not what we're going to show, right? I think your strongest one has something to do with that bus.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, so play around with that one. Like, iterate on that. See how many different ways you can iterate on that, right?
Okay.
And not just, the alligators riding to school on the bus, because that says enough. It's sort of like, you're not supposed to do that, and that's crazy. It's pretty obvious that's crazy, right? So I don't really know that you need somebody to react to it. What are the kids doing in the windows? Maybe still play with your other idea of the kids are waving at them or whatever they're doing. There's a couple different ways to go with it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
What I
You could have like a giant gator filling up the bus and the kids are being pushed out the windows.
Yeah, or he could. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways you could do it.
I like a back view of the bus, and you can see him crammed in there.
Put the bus on top of the alligator.
And no.
The alligator is walking the bus to school.
The
Sure, I'm going to make an executive decision.
Is an alien spacecraft, and the alligator's driving the alien spacecraft. All right, so you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Your thumbnails are clear.
Thank you. I showed them to a lot of different people to make sure that they were readable.
They better have been good people.
Oh my. No, my parents were so dumb about it.
Can't show stuff to your parents, man.
Oh my God, it was infuriating.
Hopefully my girlfriend can't hear me. Like, I can't talk about this stuff to her either. She just totally doesn't get it. Like,
My mom, I read her the text, and then she goes, "Is that a toad? Wait, why is he bringing the alligator if he's not supposed to?" And I'm like, what?
My girlfriend will just do, because she used to be a marketing person. I fucking hate marketing people, and she'll just give me these answers that are total marketing person answers, and I go, God, if we met each other when we were working, I would have hated you. You know what I mean? Because she just has all these like on the nose ideas where you're just like,
I
that's
know.
on the nose.
My dad keeps like trying to pitch like a children's book idea to me, and I'm like, please no. You're an engineer, please, Dad, no.
I got news for you though. Get ready if you're gonna have a career in this. Get ready for that. A big dose of that everywhere. Like, everybody will do that. Like, when I was in the toy business, everybody would do that. Oh, I got a great idea for a toy, and then I go, I don't care.
And then it's like garbage. And I'm just like,
it's either the worst idea in the world, or it's just a common idea.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was super weird. And I don't know if I've told you guys this, but like every now and then, because I was always behind the scenes, especially in certain companies, and as far as the public or whatever. And sometimes you get a call and it'd be some guy, and he'd go, and I have no idea how they got my number or anything. And they call me in my office and they go, "Hey, is this Mike Sheehan? Yeah. You're the art director for blah, blah, blah." Yes. And he'd go, "I have this great idea for like a toy." You know what I mean? Just out of nowhere. And you could tell it was just some house husband or whatever that just thought he had a great idea. And you can't listen to him anyway, because they'll try and sue you and say that you stole their idea and all this kind of stuff. So you just have to go, I can't listen to it anyway. You know what I mean? And plus, I'd always go, dude, I got plenty of ideas. I don't need ideas. You know what I mean? Okay. What's happening here?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So yeah, there's 2 pages of thumbnails. The first idea on I should have numbered them. I thought we weren't supposed to number them. The first one right here on the top left.
Yeah.
Well, that's just basically him carrying in the lunchroom, having a little alligator in his pocket. So in all these, I tried different ways to present the alligator. Like sometimes he's just an actual alligator that the kids got like either in a bucket, or he's like humanoid. He's a person. So
but that, to me, that's starting to speak. That's sort of putting the cart before the horse, because like you're going to design this thing after you get a good idea, correct?
Yeah, but I also wanted to know, like, what is the context? Is it like an actual alligator, or is it like a talking alligator? So I just wanted to explore like different, like just what's the actual context.
Okay, here's the answer. It's not a talking alligator because they don't say that in the text. Now,
Gotcha.
if something further earlier in the book said that and set that up where it's anthropomorphic or whatever, that's fine.
Gotcha.
But as it stands right now, no, right?
Gotcha, because a lot of these ideas are going to be anthropomorphic, especially when we get to the second page.
Well,
Actually,
they're all going to be sort of anthropomorphic. That's fine. When I said that, I meant talking, which actually isn't that. But
gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So what's the second one?
The second one, he's just coming into the door and just waving hello, and then the third one was him walking down the hallway in his in a cardigan and a book. And then the fourth one's still an iteration of that, just basically staging him behind the kid. Then number 5 is just a kid surrounding, a bucket, because I'm from Florida. You do get gators randomly in the canals. So yeah, it's just basically just him in the bucket. And then with 6 and 7 and also 8, I tried to just have a little more personality with the alligator in the bucket. Just 7 just a reiteration of what 6, just basically just having him like waving. And then
here's the problem with him being small in a bucket. There's no chaos there, right? Like when I was a kid, you're probably gonna do this now, but when I was a kid, there were kids that had they used to sell they were little alligators like at pet stores or whatever, right? I still see them once in a while, not in pet stores. I don't know if they still sell them in pet stores, but so if it's small, a lot of chaos there, right? Because they just kind of go, hey, you can't have that here and that be that, right? Yeah, now totally. Here, I like this as a visual, this cardigan guy and all that, but it's not relating to the text because if he's a smart, sophisticated alligator who's erudite or whatever, what's the problem? You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And the thing it's going, your teacher doesn't mean for you to do this, right?
Yeah.
They're expecting you to bring, go ahead.
Yeah, well, with the third one, I actually did, especially with 3, particularly with 3 and 4, there are actually the kids reacting in the back too, because he's just a chill person, the alligator, but then the kids don't know that, so they're not sure how to react to that. So there is some of that with those. The second page of thumbnails though is going to be.
Do I have a second page?
Yeah, there's 2 pages.
Oh,
I basically did about 23 pages of 23 thumbnails. But this is when he was becoming much more anthropomorphic, and he was going to teach the kids how to use a sextant, and he does athletics. He rides a cafe racer. So that was more. I was basically exploring more of that idea.
Okay, but with the cafe racer, what's that got to do with this text?
Yeah, and I have to throw away most of these.
So give me something that's relating to the text more, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways you can go there. I think there's something with the cardigan guy, but I don't know if it can work, just because I don't know if it can work with that text. I love the idea of the sophisticated professorial alligator walking around. I think it's funny, but I don't know if it relates to the text. Does that make sense?
I got you. I think the only way it would have to be, he would be the straight man. The only way to do it, he'd have to be the straight man, but then everyone around him would be the ones who are actually reacting.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So that's actually what I may end up doing is just combine, because I gave him an Adidas tracksuit in the other ones. I may just combine that into the cardigan glasses thing.
And come up with some other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You got to be careful, man. If somebody gives you an assignment or whatever, you know, and then you give them something that doesn't relate to the text, they're going to go, what happened? You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Because they're paying you, and everybody gets weird once they start paying you.
Indeed.
But what if it was a class of alligators and an alligator brought a human?
That's a different book again. Okay, where's Gavin?
I'm here.
Okay, so what's this first one?
I kind of just made it a smaller alligator, and when I think of show and tell, I think of like bringing stuff in like a brown paper bag. So I kind of just had him in the bag and the kid showing, and the little circles are like the class reacting to.
I like the drawing, and I like the staging. The problem I have with it is it's sort of illustrating the moment more than anything, right?
Yeah.
It's literally illustrating the moment.
Yep.
What's the second one?
The second one, he's kind of just riding the alligator to school. It's kind of the same thing, just illustrating the text.
I think there's something to just in general the getting to school part. You know, what's the reaction? What's the craziness there, right? Besides, because if you isolate him and he's just going to school, there's no reason for you to be going, well, this shouldn't happen or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of looked at it like the chaos didn't happen yet. Like the people couldn't react to it because they haven't seen it yet. But
it could be anything. It could be somebody, sweeping the porch and they're reacting. I mean, it could be anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to get some sort of conceptual, I don't know, narrative, I guess, sort of conceptualizing the narrative, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What we're trying to do here is get a little more, like with a children's book, you can be a little more on the nose, but like when we start moving into, editorial or whatever we're going to do, you really, if you look at good editorial, it's not usually right on the nose, but it is as far as its message. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I see more editorial in wherever where they just like illustrate an idea so good that I'm like, holy smokes, you know what I mean? Like that is so good, and the illustration's great, and and you're just like, that's just such high level conceptual thinking, very sophisticated high level conceptual thinking, and that's what we want to get to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's a children's book or a standard illustration project or an entertainment design project. You got to go down the rabbit hole. You got to do your research. You got to go down the rabbit hole, and you got to come up with I was just looking at some illustrations from some guy I've never heard of before. He popped up on my Twitter, and I didn't know who he was. I was looking at his illustrations, there were VizDev illustrations for a bunch of different movies and stuff. And I was just looking at it going, God, those are just so visually cool. You know what I mean? And they were not just standard solutions. They were really interesting solutions, just visually. You know what I mean? And then I looked at you're looking at those and you go, like, people think that this guy just sits down and comes up with this. He didn't. Those are the results of talking to the director, the art director, maybe the color person, looking at the script, and then going down the rabbit hole of all the research that's either been done or you're bringing to the table, and all of that pulled together. Then he starts spitting out ideas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we really got to think deep on like what we're trying to say. And man, when you land on that great solution, it feels really good. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening here? He's going to school, right?
Yeah, he's just walking to school, and the alligator is kind of like sneaky in his backpack, peeking out the pouch.
And here he's presenting, right? What are these kids doing?
Yeah, the kids are kind of running away and tripping out on him.
Well, at least there's a reaction here, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of funny. But then it's like, why? Okay, so again, where's the you shouldn't do this part?
The kids are kind of all pointing at him like, I don't know, like tattletaling, like look at him, but Yeah, I think
I love the visual of the playground imagery. I haven't seen anybody do that, you know, but also I'd probably stage it more this way so I can get the alligator really swinging.
Yeah, I drew this one probably like 20 times. I had trouble trying to.
Well, we'll work that out later. Don't worry about that. You know, and then I can get his feet, and I can get him his paws here, or whatever they're called, kicking his feet out and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I have him way higher than the kid or whatever, you know. You got to be careful with like, and I know right now it's just an idea, so it's not that big a deal. But, and also if I put it sideways like that, can I have some sort of reaction that sort of speaks to, because if it was an alligator and he's cool, I mean, the kids are going to like him, right?
Yeah.
Parents aren't and teachers aren't. So like, how do you say that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Where's the part that it's not just like my dog going to school? I thought everything was cool. I didn't know that my teacher was cool, actually. I didn't know she was talking to the principal. You know what I mean? I thought everything was cool, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So push your ideas conceptually, right?
All right.
And really go off the deep end. I know, here's you got to do, because what's your major?
I'm kind of just generally an art major right now, but I think I'm leaning towards illustration.
Okay. You got to learn to lock into that thing, okay? And there's a reason, like, usually, especially if I'm not on lockdown, I'm drawing every day. I'm sitting here painting my sketchbook every day, or I'm painting, or I'm out playing. I'm always doing stuff, okay? And part of the reason I'm doing that, I mean, I just like doing it, but part of the byproduct is it sort of keeps the spigot turned on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm always just kind of letting my brain just flow, and I don't care if it's not for a project or anything. I just go, I feel like I got this image in my head, I'm gonna paint it or whatever, right? I don't overthink it, because it's just like, just keep that channel open. Does that make sense? And you learn that really what this is about is sort of like you're doing your research, you're doing all these things, and they're in your head, right? But the main thing is you just got to learn to keep your antenna up. You know what I mean? And it's really weird. You'll lock into this thing. Once you do it, it'll start to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whatever your process is. But I think you always hear songwriters, especially, they go, great songwriters, and they go, well, how do you come up with that stuff? And they just go, it's just out there in the air, and I just kind of capture it. You know what I mean? Like I said, some famous song, and they go, what happened? He goes, I wrote that in like 15 minutes. I have no idea where that came from. It's always like that. You know what I mean? And I've heard so many songwriters just go, there's no way you can learn this stuff. You know, you can learn process or whatever. But now what we're trying to do in here is nobody can make you creative. But what we can do, hopefully, is start helping you find it, and then helping you put a methodology around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's really about the methodology, like to be consistently able to produce ideas. You know what I mean? And it's just tapping into it. That's all it is. And once you tap into it, you'll get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's really thinking broadly. And again, I go look at things like editorial illustration, like political illustration, where they're illustrating very complex ideas in very simple ways that if you just didn't put a lot of thought into it, you wouldn't think of. Because trust me, I'm sure those people struggle with that every day. Like, there's a woman named Ann Telness. I don't know how you pronounce her name. She works for the Washington Post, I think. And, she's cranking out these things like every day. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's like a crazy thing to have to do every day. It's very high level thinking. It's very conceptual. And then she has to pull off the illustration. You know what I mean? But look at those things just for, purely the solutions. You know what I mean? It'll start to, I do it all the time with different things. I might be starting a project, and I do this all the time. I'll go look at somebody's work that I really love. And I'm not looking at it to copy it. I'm just looking at it to go, ooh, I want to get into that kind of thing, like that level of stuff. I want to do that kind of thing. I don't want to copy it, but it gets me inspired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I'll look at it and go, look at that pose they thought of. Like, how come I didn't ever think of that? You know what I mean? And it just helps me get into that groove a little bit. Sometimes you got to prime the pump a little bit. Oh, I always got to prime the pump. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then sometimes you sit down with a pen and you just come up with a bunch of great ideas. And you go, wow, I got this. And the next project you suck. You know what I mean? It's just how it works. Okay. Nature's always right there to go, hey, guess what? I can take this away from you any moment I want. Because it can. It's kind of scary, but that's why you want to put a methodology around it, because it's actually not what everybody thinks, is that we sit here and we wait for inspiration and we get struck by lightning. That's a horse crap. That happens once in a while, but what usually your work is coming out of is you just kind of get your brain to work the way it works. And then it's about methodology. You know what I mean? Like, it's about methodology. I don't do anything usually. I mean, if I'm talking to somebody on the phone about a job or whatever, I might sit there and just start doing doodles on the phone or whatever. Or if I have a couple ideas, I'll throw them down. But then I go right into research and I just start researching stuff. And that's where most of my stuff comes from. You know what I mean? That and just purely drawing and not worrying about it. And you also got to draw without any, I mean, you want to come up with an idea, but you want to sort of draw and be free. Like, you don't want to sit there and go, oh, Mike's going to think this sucks. That's not how you should be thinking. You should be going, get into the groove of it and have a good time with it. Because if you're not having a good time with it, not as much is going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we know what we're doing. I think there's something, it could be something here if you push it. Yeah. All and there might be something here. Now, what I do like about this is I love the staging. I love that hand coming into frame. I like the idea of all the kids around. That's great. It's the staging's great. But push yourself conceptually. Yeah.
And you think I need more of like the negative aspect in there? Like, you're not supposed to bring it to school?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a negative aspect. It's just the idea that they're going, I mean, the way that reads is when your teacher tells you to do this, they mean to bring a rock, a blah, 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 not to bring an alligator. You know, that's all it is. It's not, it's just like, what are you, crazy? You bring it, you know, it's just that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go say negative, because negative is where people start having the teacher absolutely terrified, the kid's terrified, and it's like, that's going a little too far. You know, you can do like that one we were talking about where all the kids are bunched up one side of the room, because that visually is kind of silly, and a kid peeking out from the side of the bookcase and maybe a kid hanging from the light fixture or something, because that's so over the top. You know what I mean?
Or what if on number 2, if there was like a lady walking her little dog or something behind it to show the contrast?
Absolutely. No, reacting to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe it's like a little tiny poodle and this gigantic alligator.
Yeah.
And her, like, you know, whatever that reaction is. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Because that gives me that. And by the way, what's fun about that is we know he's going to school, and we're getting the whole message before being in the classroom, which is kind of fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's the prissy lady walking a fussy poodle, maybe, and reacting to this. Yeah.
Yep.
I like that idea, actually.
All right.
But I think the drawings look pretty nice.
Thank you.
Me like you the drawing. Me always like you the drawing. Ian, these aren't flipped.
Oh, my apologies.
That's all right. These are, I think. Wait.
Those are mine. Yeah. Or yeah. And
yeah, so make sure you flip them before I get them, or rotate them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, did they go right? Yeah.
Well, I just make 15 thumbnails.
Okay, there's that one, that one. Okay. All right. So what's happening here?
Like, there's a kid, he has like looking at a rock or a golden rock.
Well, what's that got to do with the text?
There's a boy who's looking at a rock. He just found a rock.
We got to get the text in there. You got to get the visual in there with the alligator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me turn off the heater in here. It's hotter than hell in here. Let's see this one. Yeah, we have no alligators, right?
And
Here's one.
yeah, there is one. Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening here?
Like the first paragraph is I see a kid sleeping.
I don't understand that.
I see a boy or a girl sleeping, and second, the boy wants a treat.
But what's that got to do with the text? I'm not understanding that. Like this one looks like it might have something more to do with the text, and maybe this one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's this one? He's riding it to school.
Yeah.
Same issue. It's got to have some sort of reaction. This is doing the show and tell, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be something happening with the show and tell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So these two you could probably develop. And what's this one?
He wants to play.
Okay, well these two are the two that relate to the text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would, again, you got to build in the reaction or whatever that is to explain the text a little more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So these two, develop these two. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those two. Yeah. Gotcha.
Because we want to keep it really aligned with the text.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go. By the way, if I like suddenly go out, it's because something wacky's going. I don't think it will, but because I'm going to try and fix this afterwards. But just in case, I'll sign back on or whatever. Okay, who's this? Leah. Yeah? Where you at? There you are.
Hi.
Okay, what are you thinking?
So the first one, like the teacher's just confused, but all the kids are pretty like high. I only drew 3, but the kids are like they like it, but they're not too sure. I did a he for the teacher, so I don't know if that's okay.
You did a what?
I did a guy teacher, and then I went back and saw that you used she, so I wasn't really sure.
Oh, in the text it says she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wait. Oh, yes, it does. It changed I don't care about that.
Okay.
I mean, the publisher would, but I mean, for our context, I don't care.
Okay.
The publisher would immediately go, you change the gender of the story? What? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't, for the purposes of this, I don't care. Okay, so what's the second one?
I was thinking that the class is actually like outside with like the teacher and everybody has their little backpacks, but only she like, and like the kid has a rock in his hand and the little girl is like holding a nest.
Sure.
But then like she's the one, she like, cause she is holding like a little alligator, so she's like catching up.
I like the drawing of the kid and the alligator. Has the teacher seen the alligator?
Not yet. I just
what I'd say about that is it's the same thing I keep saying, which is like, where's the part where it's not a good idea, right?
Like I have a page tradition on like pencil and paper where like the teacher is surrounded by the kids, and then on my paper is a she, and she saw her running towards them with like the alligator, and she has her mouth covered like this and like kind of
doing what?
On my paper there is one where she is surrounded by the kids, and then she saw the girl running with an alligator and she's like shocked.
Yeah, you could have that, and the shock doesn't have to be over the top. It could even be like if you have the teacher going like, oh boy, then it feels like there's a backstory there where it's like this kid does crazy stuff all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be like, oh my God, or they're mad or whatever. It could just be like, oh crap, here's that kid again with some crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I like that composition. I love the way the kids run into the scene.
I was thinking, like, you know, they were all told to have like little backpacks, but only she has a pulling one that doesn't really move well. So like, it's like things are falling out of it. But then I didn't draw that because I didn't have space.
There's something to that. I think you got to push it a little bit. Yeah. What's your major?
I want to do entertainment design.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, Phil recommended me to take this class. So
Yeah, he's right. And for this reason, you want to push yourself conceptually. Okay. And I probably said this 100 times, but one of the things I see, especially mostly with entertainment design, is if I go, we're going to design a vehicle, they go and look at Star Wars and start copying vehicles. Or we're going to design a character and every character looks like Captain America, only with different colors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to, and by the way, that conceptual thinking isn't really any different than this. Now, sometimes they'll be going like the guy I was talking about earlier, where he was designing environments for those kind of movies. That's just a ton of research on art historical things and, you know, who lives here. It's like Zootopia was an interesting challenge like that. How do you design a world, a city, right? How do you design a city where everybody doesn't have an average height? You know, you got giraffes and mice. How does that work? Right. And they had, they went down that rabbit hole and figured that out. Okay. The Big Hero 6, like, how do you combine these ideas of, you know, the San Francisco that whole idea? You don't just graft things together. Like, I guarantee you there's some backstory to how that happened. And the backstory is going to help you design it. Does that make sense? So the backstory is going to go, why is San Francisco have this Japanese influence on it now? Oh, well, this happened and that happened. You go, okay. And then I would go, so this would have happened slowly over time. They wouldn't have just been whatever that influence once came in and goes, okay, now we're going to do all this Japanese architecture. It would have gradually happened. And it would have partially happened. And there would have been neighborhoods that still had the old style and stuff with the new style. And there'd be some houses where they kind of grafted that style. You know what I mean? That's the conceptual, like, deep dive you need to do. Okay. And the same thing with this kind of stuff, right? Okay. Because this could be just as easily a keyframe from a movie where they go, hey, it's this story. Hey, what happened? You know, we need a shot. You know, we're thinking, you know, when the kid brings this alligator in the room, what's it look like? I mean, this conversation could be happening exactly in the context of a movie or something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. And it's the same deep dive, and they're going to ask you the same thing. They're going to go, why are the kids reacting like that? Don't you think it's reacting a little too heavily? Don't you think? And there's going to be a bunch of people in the room. They go, I think it will, you know, and it's all, there's a lot of thinking behind these things, man. It ain't just sitting down and drawing. You know what I mean? And
yeah, my stuff.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, like, my stuff is like more illustration-y, like, than entertainment right now. So like,
I don't, you know, to be honest with you, why is that bad?
It's not. It's just because, you know, like, one second. Because, like, I have like this kind of stuff before.
Show it. Let me see it. Is that one of yours?
It's my daughter, my dog.
So you painted that?
Yeah.
In what?
Watercolor.
Oh shit! Okay, right on.
It's like my best one. Like, I don't think I've ever done better than that. So, you know, gotta challenge myself.
Okay, here's the thing with this, and I want you to understand this. When I go to, and I went to Art Center, right? But if I go to Art Center, if I go to, I don't know, anywhere with an entertainment design program, to be honest with you, I don't even usually look at it. Okay. And the reason I don't look at it is because it's so incestuous and it's all the same stuff and it's cannibalistic. And I go, everybody's just doing the same stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, there it is. Another big futuristic city that looks like something from Star Wars. There it is. The big robot hybrid turtle warrior. I mean, you just see the same crap over and over again. And it's all rendered in the same style. And 90% of it has no personality. You know, and then you get certain people that come along who are amazing and have their own vision of these things, like Craig Mullins or whoever. And Craig Mullins, by the way, comes from a traditional background. That's why part of the reason he's such a good painter. But the people who are thinking their own way and not just locking into this like Viscom illustrative technique that it's kind of personality to us. Now, I'm not saying they're painting or whatever you want to call it, or drawing or whatever, to illustrate an idea. Okay, it's a different thing. But the ones who are really good at it, and I remember this like in all sorts of different places, but I remember somebody when I was in Imagineering, who, and this is when people are still using traditional, right? And this guy's paintings were painterly. You know what I mean? They were really cool. They were super painterly, like way more illustrative. And everybody was like, and there's 40 of those things on a wall in a presentation, everybody's eye would go right to his. And everybody go, that guy's a badass. You know what I mean? Because he had personality and he had all this, you know what I mean? He brought something to the table. You know what I mean? And if you're not bringing anything to the table, then you're not going to make as much money. It's just that easy. You know what I mean? Like you want to be somebody who's being brought in to work, you know, come up with creative ideas. To me, that's much more fun. You know what I mean? I don't want to be this guy. I had people on my team at Disney, and if I needed Mickey skiing, you know, I'd go to a character artist and I go, hey, Mario, give me Mickey skiing. I want Mickey like doing one of those jumps with the skis like that. And I just dictate it. And then I go draw it. You don't want to be that guy. At least I don't. You know what I mean? Hone your own style is what I'm saying. Okay. And what I see all the time with entertainment people is they always think, oh, I'm supposed to draw like that. Oh, I'm supposed to paint like that. Oh, I'm supposed to. That's a bunch of crap. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What you do need to do is get monster good at painting, drawing, design, all that. But let it be your own thing and follow your own path. Does that make sense? Okay.
I did a tour at Imagineering once with like Ryman Arts.
Oh yeah.
It was really like, wow.
It's a mind-blowing place.
Yeah.
It's a totally mind-blowing place. I used to wander around there all the time, just whenever, when I'd feel like it. And there's just all these hidden buildings there, you know, because they don't mark them. And you just wander in this building, you just get your mind blown. You just go, what in the hell is this? You know? Or they'd send you out to go look at a mock-up or something out in the valley or something. And it'd be a warehouse. It just looks like a warehouse. And then you drive into this thing and you go inside and it's this crazy place. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a super weird place. But anyway, okay, so what's happening here?
Because it was more of the second one. It was like more of a nature field trip, but then like there was no reaction. So I guess.
The only thing I don't like about this one here is it's starting to get a little too scary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and this one's more of a nature thing. It's starting to feel like it's illustrating a different story, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's happening here?
So I was having the idea of like the alligator being really big and like compared to everyone else's project. So when you were talking about going off the page, I felt like this one was the one. I kind of went off page with like the pause, but then I didn't really iterate on that.
Yeah, but I mean, in a thumbnail, you don't have to work everything out. It's just the idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thumbnails to me are like, especially when you're just using them for yourself, you're really making notes. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna have that pop right there. That's all you need to do. That way you'll remember it. Okay. And what's he doing?
That's the teacher just like, I don't know, calling some sort of authority or
getting a little severe. What's happening here?
I was talking to a friend who studies like animals and stuff, and then he was like, oh, you know, like they build like nests with sticks. So I was thinking that he was the alligator, don't know the gender, was taking other kids' projects to build his little nest, and then like everybody is like, and like the kids getting dragged and like people are like panicking.
I kind of like that idea. I think it's more about that he stole one of the other kids' crappy show and tell items.
Yeah.
Right. But I think you got to stage that in a way where the other kids are like, what the hell? Or whatever, you know what I mean? Somehow they're reacting to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like
I think it's like the idea that this kid's, because to me, bringing an alligator would be cool, right? And I like that his alligator, that even might.
Maybe the gator is like sneaking somebody else's, like is sneaking to like take it off somebody else's desk.
I like that he's already got it and he's kind of dragging the kid along with it, and the kid's trying to get it and give it back probably. You know what I mean? I mean, I like all that. Now you got to really clarify. I don't think you need to show it and building a nest or whatever, because who the hell knows?
Yeah, I can have the teacher chase after him, right? Like,
and it's got to be very obvious that it's one of the other kids' items. Because what do they have? They have a rock, a stick, and a nest, right?
Yeah.
Rock, a stick, and a nest.
So I just feel like pulling a stick would be a lot easier than.
Yeah, I think the stick, because the kid could be hold on, and I like that a kid's getting to drag along with it and all that. I would figure out how to stage that. I think there's an idea there.
That's just the stick stuff, you know, laying on everyone else's project and messing everything.
I like the idea of the alligator screwing up the other kids' projects. I do like that. That sort of ties back into, I think it was Andrew or something said, maybe the kid's a little bit snotty. Maybe he likes that. You know what I mean? I mean, if a kid brought a big alligator to school, he'd probably be kind of a badass, right?
I was just thinking he was like someone who like tries too hard. And like if people just brings rocks and sticks, I want to bring an alligator. I want to like outdo everyone else. Sure. So it wasn't like snotty. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what's happening here.
Sorry.
What's happening here?
That's the like same idea where like everyone else is trying to pull the stick away from him, from the alligator.
Where's the kid who has the alligator? Where's he at?
Oh yeah, I should drop her in.
Yeah. So figure that again, that's a staging thing. That's another variation on the other one, which is fine. Yeah. But you gotta, okay, so here's the thing. It's a 5-year-old, it's a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, whatever. You gotta remember, they gotta read it, they gotta understand it, right?
Okay.
They have to understand it, which means there can't be any sort of gray area there. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's got to be very clear visually. And by the way, in general, as an illustrator, I don't care what kind of work you're doing. I don't care what kind of work you do. Communication and clarity is absolute key. Okay, you've got to have communication and clarity. People have to read it like that. And I probably said this in here. If you're in a presentation, so it's a little different. But if you're in a presentation like in entertainment design or toy design or whatever, and you're doing your presentation in front of all these people, and one of them, and you're going, hey, blah, 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 hey, this is cool, check it out, or whatever. And somebody goes, what is that? And you go, what? And they go, that thing over to the left. And you go, oh, right here. No, over here. Oh, that's once you do that, you're screwed. Your presentation's over. It's done. I've had it happen to me. And probably more than once. And then it catches like fire in the room. And then you get past that. In my head, I already go, I'm screwed. They don't get this at all. And then somebody else, I'll go start moving on, and somebody else will go, wait a minute, what'd you mean? What's that over there? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just how it works. And your presentation's over. Like, you're not going to get the money you're after if that's what you're trying to do, whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Clarity. Okay. What's this here?
That's just the kid and the alligator being surrounded by all like other kids, and the teacher walks in like, all horror, like, what is everybody doing here? And then,
I think your idea here is here and this variation of it. It's all about staging now. Right?
Yeah.
And if you want to bump out a couple more, that's fine. But and by the way, it's not just the idea that he took the stick. It's not just the idea he took this or that. It's the idea of the, because I haven't seen this idea before here. It's the idea of the alligator kind of crapping on everybody else's project. I think that's kind of funny. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that answers my question about like, this is why I don't bring an alligator to school. It's an alligator. You know what I mean? Yeah. It answers the question. Okay. or it answers the text. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now spin out a bunch of ideas. It looks like your drawings are pretty good. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. Jesus, we're going through time really fast. I got to get through these. Hang on. How many more do I? Okay, I don't have that many more. Okay. I'll try and go a little faster. Okay, who's this? This is Lucy. Where are you at?
Hello.
Okay, what do you think?
So for the first one, I was kind of like approaching it like the character's doing an assignment, like he's gonna try to get the alligator for his show and tell.
It's sort of giving it a different narrative, don't you think?
Yeah. I was
You
thinking
got to
about
be
that.
careful with that. It's super easy to do that. I get it. Like sometimes I'll just go so down the rabbit hole of thumbnailing, I don't realize that I'm going off script completely. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, let me get screen grab this room. Oh, crap. Hang on. Just frightened about my computer now. Okay, there's that. All right. Okay. So then what's happening here?
So I was thinking about like the layout, like when the kid turns the page, it's kind of like a shock factor, like, oh, there's a huge alligator. But I don't know.
It's a little too on the nose, right?
Yeah.
And then here, what are they at the bus stop?
Mm-hmm. So it's just like a kid bringing his own nature stuff, like a butterfly, and then he's just staring at this giant alligator.
If I was going to do that, I might keep it just white on a page like that. And to be honest, it would be all about this kid's and his reaction to each other.
Yeah.
Like if you could get a really funny, nuanced little look at each other, that would be cool. And I would just do, if I did that, I would just do it exactly like you have it. Text, white background, Stark. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of took inspiration because I was looking at some children illustrations and it had like a white background, so I kind of wanted to replicate it a little bit.
Yeah, the thing you want to do when you're doing or anything sequential like that, you want to really think about your shots, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what I was talking about before, where I put all these 3x5 cards up there and just do little thumbnails. I mean, because then all of a sudden you'll notice like, oh, I've got all these drawings with like all these small things in them. That's not very interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like plotting a movie or whatever. And as the kid cycles through the thing, he's going to get payoffs all over the place. Like maybe it's a couple things on a page and you turn the page, a big splash. Maybe it's all leading up to a big splash page and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's happening here? He's getting ready for school?
I was trying to like think of the character, like what personality the kid would have. So I was thinking of like a mischievous, adventurous kid. So that's why the first picture and the second picture is kind of the kid has a hat. So for the fourth picture, I was thinking like he was being told what the assignment is, the show and tell, and he was just thinking of getting an alligator, which kind of went out of.
It's this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Play around with it a little bit, and then what we're going to do, I think that's your best idea right there. And I like that it's stark. We talked about this a little bit last week about him sitting at the bus stop or whatever, but I like the starkness of it. And I love the idea of the other kid. It's not a bunch of kids, oh God, or overreacting to him or whatever. It's one kid, and it's a subtle expression between the two. Does that make sense?
Got it.
That to me be really funny. And if you could hit the expressions just right, and a lot of times, by the way, doing that, if you're going to do that, you got to get warmed. At least for me, I got to get warmed up. Like if I try and throw down some nuanced expression in 15 minutes, it ain't going to happen. Like I got to sit there for a while and just draw until my hands get all warmed up. And then what happens is I accidentally hit it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I almost always accidentally hit it. That drawing that's gone around the internet a million times with that dog sitting in a room on fire and it says everything is fine.
Oh yeah, that one.
Okay, whoever drew that, I'm sure didn't even think about it. There's probably some doodle, but it looks hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or have you seen, this one's a picture, but have you seen, it's another one that pops up on all these memes. The one with that weird white cat with that weird expression on its face.
Oh, is it the one with like on a dinner table?
Yeah, he's like looking over at dinner,
Alley
he's
cat.
making this weird expression. And it's like, nobody thought of that when they did that. You know what I mean? But when they took the picture, they go, oh my God, that's hilarious. Or have you seen the dog that's practicing his mean face in the mirror?
I don't think so.
It's hilarious. All right, I have it. I don't know if I don't even know if I can get to any of my shit right now. Hang on. Wait, I know how to find it. But I mean, the point is, nobody took these pictures and thought, oh, this is going to be a meme or whatever. Look. Here he is. He's practicing his angry faces in the mirror.
Oh, are you showing it?
Yeah, I'm going to. Hang on, I gotta make it bigger. Ah, crap. I gotta get over here. I can't move it for some reason. Hang on. I don't know if I can get this to play. I don't know what's going on with it. Here it is.
Isn't that dog looking at a mirror?
And he gets all happy. Look and watch. Right?
Yeah.
I love dogs, man. I can look at videos of dogs all day long. All right, so I developed this.
It's all about cats.
No, cats are for losers.
I like cats though.
Got him! Got him!
I mean, I'm more of a crocodile guy myself. I don't know about that.
Yeah, me too. Sharks.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I like turtles, like the big ones.
So you don't like, you're biased against small turtles?
I am. I need like a Galapagos tortoise or something like that.
Because you want to destroy the environment. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
No,
I don't like. You know what I really can't stand is dolphins. Okay, so let's look at this one.
What?
Wait, you can't just move on from that sentence.
Yeah.
Dolphins
I don't
are
like-
pretty evil, so I don't blame you for that.
Like them. I just don't like them.
Dolphins suck.
They're pretty violent animals.
They're not cool. Okay, so where's Maria?
I'm here.
Okay, so what are we thinking here?
Starting from show and tell, a girl brings a alligator, a little alligator, and the kids seem to really like the little alligator, so it becomes the new exotic class pet.
That's
And-
sort of creating a secondary narrative.
No, damn it.
You got to be careful with that. You start kind of going, I got to change the narrative because it's easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard to illustrate to a narrative. Some things, some things are easier than others, but okay.
So we put the alligator in space.
Right. Yeah, so you put the alligator in space. That's going to be my new catch-all for that. Okay, so all these are sort of that idea?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, it's fine to iterate on an idea, but I want my 5 clear, different ideas, right?
Yeah.
So you can go down the rabbit hole in one, then abandon it and do another one, right? And then you can go down that rabbit hole if you want and then do another one. Okay, so what's happening here?
It's just like first they find the little alligator and then they just give it a ball to play with while they're just like hanging out with the little alligator.
That's a second narrative, right?
I know.
All right. Give me some new ideas on Wednesday. Yeah?
All right.
Because you've been listening to all this. You kind of know where we're going, right?
Pretty much.
And don't create a secondary narrative.
Hey, Mike,
Hmm.
You don't have my assignment.
Where is it?
Me.
Where is it?
Oh, I turned it in, but I don't see it downloaded on your.
If it was on my drive, I would have gotten it.
Really?
Yeah. I download the whole drive. I just go download the folder, and then I count. I know how many are in the Google Drive. It was 18, and then what I downloaded has to match the 18. Does that make sense? Just email it to me. Email it to me right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to mention that there's a few people in chat that mentioned that they only turn it in on Canvas.
Oh, if you turn it on Canvas, I've said that from the beginning. I don't use Canvas for this. Okay? I don't use Canvas for this kind. It's just too much of a pain in the ass to navigate images there.
A question about that,
I can download it from that, but it just doesn't. And then like somebody today gave me an AI file. It can't even understand an AI file, so I can't even look at it. You know what I mean?
So
for that, it's very good for other things, but not that.
On Canvas, it says that like we have a missing assignment if we don't turn it in there. Do we just look past that? Do we just ignore that message?
Missing? Oh, probably because it was due today at 6.
Yeah, because if we don't turn it in on Canvas, Canvas will like yell at us. So do we just ignore it and just keep doing the Google Doc? Okay,
all that's doing is it's really just going. I mean, if you hand it in, yeah, ignore that. I see what you're saying. Yeah, just ignore that because I'll go in and I'll grade it and then that'll go away.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Normally, what I do is that after I turn it in Google Drive, I would go on Canvas and also turn it in as well, so I don't have to get notifications like every hour, just to shut it up on my side.
Yeah, I get it. Canvas is great for everything else it does. It's just not good for managing images at all.
I just get annoyed and delete the app and then re-download it later.
Well, I love Canvas. I just don't like it for that. All right, where you at?
Okay, so
there you are.
Yep.
Okay.
The first one I kind of had, he's bringing the alligator, but then obviously it's not something he should do. So the alligator's kind of hiding behind this lamppost, but obviously it's not really, hiding much. But so that's kind of the idea there. The second one kind of, he's bringing the alligator to school. He's kind of riding around in the halls. I was gonna have like a teacher chasing him or something, because that's
probably a little over the top. I like the. Okay, then he's in the sandbox, right?
And all the other kids.
I like the design of the alligator. Again, though, I would. I mean, this is just my thing. I would have that alligator huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes more sense if it's just this crazy big thing, And also, I can cram him into small spaces where he's not supposed to be, and it really helps reinforce the idea of like he's not supposed to be in this space. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then what do they do in the sandbox? They just playing?
Yeah, because so they're playing, but then
we need that he's not supposed to be their part.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think most of these, what's happening here? He's presenting right here.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the show and tell side of it. He brings the alligator up, but then the kids are fascinated, but the teacher's like kind of worried.
I'd push some of these. Like, what's happening? Oh, he's hiding.
Yeah, behind a lamppost, but it's not really hiding much.
Well, yeah. I'm not that dense. I'd push them. Again, I'd push them conceptually. Like this kid, I don't think I'd have him pointing. I think I'd just have him looking like he's getting scolded by the teacher, and then the other ones run off over here and he's hidden. I don't think I'd put him behind a lamp post. I'd put him something that makes sense in the schoolyard, right? Or in a classroom, whatever, right?
Maybe like a basketball pole or something.
The lamp post feels like all of a sudden we're like on some street or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know, there could be a lamp post on campus. There might be something to that. There could even be something with the sandbox. I just don't know what it is yet, I like it as a visual, but it's got to have the narrative. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We got to get to the narrative. And then like this one, he's presenting, but it's sort of just illustrating the scene in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to push the conceptual idea more. Okay.
Yep.
So just give me a couple more. Yeah.
Okay.
I think what I want to do, you guys, because I don't think I'm going to, because I can't even get to my desktop right now. So I think what I want to do is what I'll do is on Wednesday, I'll just pop through the ones that I haven't seen first, and then I'll go through the ones that are new. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a certain amount you want by Wednesday?
Is there a what?
Like a certain amount you want by Wednesday?
You mean for like if I've talked about them?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do in here. Okay, and the reason I'm doing this is because I might have said this, I don't know. I want you guys to start learning how to manage yourselves in relation to your work. Does that make sense? Amelia?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so what it means is, yeah, sometimes I'm going to go give me 5 ideas or whatever. And then as we start working, what I'd really like to happen is I go, you just give me, you work through your problems. Because what I don't, at some point, everybody does this. And I had a teacher who beat the crap out of me over it, right? He beat the crap out of everybody over it. And it was really interesting. This guy, he scared the crap out of me over at Art Center. And one time he goes, okay, I want 6 pictures. And this class was an all-day crit. And the guy was brutal. Okay. And he totally scared the crap out of me. But he also had this weird psychological thing where he just knew everything. It was super weird. And so anyway, he goes, I want 6 thumbnails. Okay. Ideas. I go, okay, cool. Okay, cool. And then he's like, and it was hard to get a compliment out of this guy. Right. And he was a legend, so you wanted a compliment out of him. So he's like going through, and then literally this is what I did. I had to have 6 thumbnails or whatever. And it's, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning. I've done 5 that I think are okay. And then I go, I just got to come up with something else to fill up the page. I came up with something crappy just to fill up the page. And then he's critting it, and he goes, and he's going, hey, this is a pretty good idea. And he's going through it, and I'm going, cool. And then he gets to that one, and he goes, and here's the one that you did at 3 o'clock in the morning when you didn't give a crap anymore, and you just want to fill up the page. And it was like, oh God, he's even right on the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what you tend to start doing. If I just go, okay, give me 5 more, then you just start filling up pages to fill up pages. And what I want you to start learning to do is to start going, using the thumbnailing process to sort of purge and explore an idea until it's exhausted. Okay. And that could be 3 thumbnails. It could be 10. It could be 50. It could be 100. I don't know, because you've got to start learning to use that process to explore these things to their end. Does that make sense? Or to explore them to go, this doesn't work, and to know it doesn't work, and to go, I don't need to put more time into this. It doesn't work. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what I want you to do is start managing that. Now, here's what it really irritates me when I do this. And actually in this class, I've not really had this happen. For some reason in this class, it seems like everybody's pretty serious. Okay. Is that somebody comes in, they got 2 half-ass ideas. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, you spent 10 minutes on that. You know what I mean? Get yourself a spot, when soon stuff opens again, and it is starting to open again. Go find your cool outdoor spot where you like to sit, take your sketchbook, get some coffee or whatever you like, or whatever, ramen or whatever, and sit there and just burn through ideas. That's what I like to do. Okay. Or maybe you like doing it at home, but I like to go outside. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, it's fun outside. When like last semester with the sketching class going out.
It's the stuff, man. It's exciting. If you go out with a sketchbook anywhere, it's exciting, right? Mm-hmm. It's exciting. Everything's an adventure with the sketchbook as far as I'm concerned. But you're sitting there, put some headphones on, and just roll out a bunch of ideas. Okay? But I don't want to keep managing you and telling you how many, because I don't know how many you need. You know what I mean? I don't know. But what I don't want to see is no effort in it. Okay? And you've got to start managing yourself because again, there's a reason why they call this your college career. Oh, my college career was there for 4 years, because it's the start in a way of your career. Okay. It's when you start to behave like a professional. It's when you start to learn to work like a professional. It's when you start to build your skill set up to a professional level. That's what it's for. Does that make sense? And I want what you guys are doing. You guys are having a conversation with me, going back and forth. You're pushing your ideas. We're talking about conceptual things, and we'll get more and more into that as we work into different types of projects. Okay. Did that answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna because it's already 9, and let me see what I got left. Now, what's probably going to happen here is this part of our crit thing will get shorter. But what I want to make sure is that our idea is rock solid before we start moving forward. Does that make sense? I mean, I think most people have something in here that I think is pretty good. Okay, or has the seed of something pretty good. And I only have, well, let's see if I can get through. Maybe I can get through these 3. Who's this?
Those are mine.
Natalie, where are you at?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. I know you.
Yep.
Okay, walk into school, right?
Yep.
What's happening here?
Sorry, they're just really they're really messy, but that one is just the alligator.
By the way, okay, like I like to draw this loose, but what I'll do is I'll go in and it just depends. Wait a minute. I don't want to screw up the drawing. And I'll just start to clarify things a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, my thumbnails are like really, really messy.
Okay, so, but what I want you to do is start understanding how to go in there and just kind of clarify them a little.
Uh-huh. Like go in with a black pen maybe.
Yeah, or I do it, I usually just do it. A lot of times I just do it with one pen. I mean, it's fine. Either way you want to, I'll just put a little bit of structure on these feet, not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Are they wearing shorts? Maybe there's a little fold here. Oops. Maybe just a little indication there. And I'm just really just doing indication-y stuff, to be honest. And I got that eye all screwed up there. And then I go, what is this? Is this a backpack? And if it is, then I'll put that little flap on it. Maybe a pocket. And maybe I'll put the, the straps or whatever. And just make sure that I'm getting them just like this one's not too bad. Maybe
I think that's one of the better
ones. A little bit of a chin, a little bit of a nose, eyes. Maybe, kids, a lot of boys have these big gawky ears. Tighten that up, pull the shoulders down a little bit, sleeves. I'm put his hand right here like he's got his hand resting on him. And again, maybe just kind of clarify these feet a little. I just need things to read. That's about it. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's pulling him to work or to school here, right?
Yes. That one's a very basic.
The what?
That one's just the basic. Oh, here's the alligator.
I know, but there is something there to the exuberance of a kid going, hey, you know what I mean? When it's something that's crazy. Again, maybe, and by the way, it doesn't always have to have everything. It's a kid's book. Sometimes it can just be, man, that's just a fun image. He's all stoked about it. Maybe you turn the page and the part about the negative part happens. Like, the kid's like all exuberant and thinks it's great. And it's a fun image and there's confetti everywhere and whatever. And then you turn the page and it's like the teacher. You know what I mean? So a lot of times these things would be broken up into the narrative. Okay. But we're dealing with one page. And I'm doing it a little bit also to sort of force you to really think about the image and saying a lot with one image. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of had the same idea as Amelia, like the
the kid riding the alligator to school. And
Yeah,
the
it's
kids
kind of
on
a
the bus
common
going
one.
like,
I mean,
"Oh."
there's always going to be certain things that everybody's going to
Yeah, yeah.
because they're just like, they're not even just obvious solutions. It's just sort of, you know, it's just what happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. Did I only have one? I thought I had 2 pages.
There's 2.
Where's the other one? Oh, here it is. I thought I opened this. Oh, there it is. What's happening here?
That was kind of the same, like, I think it was Andrew who had the idea of like the kid finding the, like an egg and then that whole, it's a different, yeah, it's like not
It's
really.
starting to tell the origin story of their relationship.
Yeah, because like I think my initial idea was the kid either takes a baby alligator or an egg, and then like in the window he's in class, like, and
What's
you can see in the
happening
window.
here?
Oh, that one is just like she's accidentally attracting the alligator. Like she went fishing and then like an alligator started following her.
I think we got to get these more pulled into the text. Yeah?
The ones like with the classroom are kind of more so.
Like here?
Because a lot of those are like, okay, the alligator's there, and then there's some teacher reaction because the like the mom alligator followed because he took an egg or a baby or something.
How come it says Chris Hong right here?
Oh, I just wrote her down because I wanted to remember to look at her stuff again.
Her stuff is really off the charts.
Yeah, I know. She's so good.
And by the way, I think she doesn't take studio work. Like she's just because I remember, if you read up on her thing, I think there's something where she's just like, I do my own thing. You know
Yeah, I haven't heard her, like I haven't seen any of her stuff like with her saying that she does stuff for production.
No, she just does her own thing, which I think is cool. Because
Mhm.
there's no way that some studios haven't come to her to probably offer a job or whatever. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's happening here?
That is basically it's the idea of like, so the kid took the baby alligator and the mom alligator is like outside the door and the teacher's like blocking the door trying to keep it from getting in.
Why is the mom alligator involved now?
Because the kid stole the baby.
Okay,
or the
that, see
egg
what I
or
mean?
whatever.
Now we're
Yeah,
going down this
yeah.
other rabbit hole.
But that was the idea was supposed to be like, oh, this is why you don't bring an alligator.
What I do like about some of these, like this little drawing right here is a pretty charming drawing. Like I can see everything there and it's very charming. I like his stance. It feels kind of natural. The alligator feels like it has some weight to it. I think that this here has some charm to, I think this has a lot of charm to it. Now the trick is translating that to a finished thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll talk about that. But and these things is like I love this little image right here, but can you give me one step more?
Yeah, that one was just one I did, and I was like, oh, that's not.
I know, but
really an
I like
idea.
the image. I like the composition. I
Yeah.
like the pose. I like it. It's charming. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think there's a lot to be said for charming, especially with children's books. Okay, but push the narrative more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Got it.
just give me a couple more, and let's figure it out.
So, are there any ideas that are like, yeah, or the, or should I just keep trying to figure it out?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay.
Because like this one's illustrating the scene. That's kind of funny where he's looking in the window. Why is he?
Yeah,
looking
that's because the kid took an egg, and that's why the mom followed.
I
Oh, he
think
like
the funny
accidentally
thing
brought an
there is
alligator.
the alligator looking in the window.
Yeah, I have a lot of them where the alligator's looking in the window.
If you can give me a reason why he's doing that, that's kind of fun.
Well, because the kid took the egg.
I know,
That's
what's
why.
the egg got to do with it? I don't understand. What
Because that's the alligator's egg. So
that's a different story.
Oh, okay.
Because now you're not going, hey, it's about show and tell. It's about the alligators after it's egg. That's a different. You know what I mean? It's a different story.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But I like this image. I think it's funny looking, you know, and I don't know if there's a way you can tie that together. Maybe he's not looking in the window. Maybe he's looking over a desk. Maybe he's looking behind the teacher in the desk. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes this kind of thing will just spark something and I'll at least go down the rabbit hole and try it. It might not work, but I'll try it. You know what I mean? Here he's going to school, right?
Yeah, that's like the bus ride. Like one of the kids has like the nest and the other one has a stick and one is like, oh man. The other one's like, whoa. Like one of the kids is like, oh, well, I should have brought something better.
Give me that conceptual connection. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can get through maybe these two. Okay. What's happening here?
So I'm gonna be honest, I kind of got carried away from, you know, why you wouldn't want to bring an alligator. I kind of just try to carry the idea, like, oh, try to practice the idea of, you know, a little kid and his big alligator that you just brought to school. So on the first one, I try to emphasize, like he's trying to maybe play with the alligator on the playground, and like the little like tunnel that they have on the playground, he just got stuck in it because it's too big. And so on the other side, it shows him trying to pull the alligator out.
I don't know. I think there's something to that. You know?
Yeah, I like the idea, but in terms of
But I tried
why not to bring an
maybe
alligator.
He's pulling the alligator through the classroom door. Maybe he's, you know, maybe there's different ways of playing with that.
Yeah.
The main message there is that this alligator is too big for this environment. He's creating havoc. That's the part where it's like, this is why you don't do this, right?
Yeah.
And then this one, he's just carrying it in, right?
No, and the second one is more like the alligator kind of like jumped in the kid's arm, like Scooby-Doo style, because of the spider.
Kind of a different story.
Yeah.
And then this one, you know, that's interesting because we talked about one like this last term. That can work.
Yeah, where they're having lunch.
Somebody did this exact one. Again, you got to stage it right.
Yeah.
But the idea works, right?
Yeah. Like the alligator is heavy and he's like breaking everything.
Yeah, like in the cafeteria, right?
Yeah.
This one they're playing,
it's like the dragon in the night. Like, yeah, little kid in the right probably has a little action figures, and the left is
kind of
actually him writing
story.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this one, he's just hanging out with his person, right?
Yes.
I think it's either this. I think you could explore this one, and I think you could explore this one.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too with those two.
But give me some bunch of iterations on it. See what you can do with it.
Yeah, of course.
Where's Olivia? Is Olivia in here?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. What's happening here?
So I don't think it has much story to it because of what we've been talking about through the whole thing, but it was more based off of the idea of like when I was little, we went to this zoo that had like a giant albino alligator. So I was kind of trying to think about what I would want to do as a kid. So that's just like, oh, the girl's like going and making friends with a giant alligator. And it doesn't really hold much to what I think the children's book aspect needs.
Okay, so I think we're all getting the point here. And like I said, the first time we're going over these, it's an icebreaker. And I think hopefully you're understanding that I want you to deep dive into the conceptual problem solving here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into the picture making problem solving process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's twofold. You got to have a good idea. And then it's going to become, how do we clearly stage this? How do we clearly compose this? How do we clearly convey our message or idea? Yeah?
Yeah.
And this is another one where it's like this one right here. I love that pose. And that could work just because it's such a fun image. but you gotta then what's going on with the kids and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So give me some more that are more. This one's at least in the classroom and stuff that are, illustrating the text more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go over the last of them on Wednesday. I'm gonna grade the ones probably that I have. Actually, no. I'll grade these on Wednesday. So don't worry about it. Okay. Because I want to grade them after I've talked to all of them. And then I'll go through the ones I didn't go through tonight. I'll go through on Wednesday. I'll start with those. And then we'll go to what the iterations or the revisions and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The quicker, and I don't want to, I do like to have a little bit of breathing room, especially with the idea part. But this first one we're going to do in traditional. So we're going to need a little time to do that because I really want to work with you on that. And again, like I said, after this project, your choice of medium is up to you. Okay. So I don't care what that's going to be after that. And the next, and I just like to put these out there ahead of schedule. I want to do and this one's a little different. We're doing a 2-page spread here, but it's obviously kind of one illustration. I want to do and I tell you the guys just up front so you can just start thinking about it. I'm probably going to want to do a 2-page spread on a graphic novel, multi-panel, that's a personal story. Okay, now this is way down the line. We got to get through all this yet. The only reason and when I say personal story, I mean, it could be anything. Like I've had somebody who did something about something her grandmother did, but it doesn't have to be that kind of personal. It's just, when I say personal, I just mean your own thing. Does that make sense? And I'll go more into it a little bit as we're moving along. There's a graphic novel that kind of inspired me to want to do this project because I really like sort of personal graphic novels. Okay. So one of the ones I like is Mimi Pond, and she did a big I have to have it here. This is the second one, but the first one was called Over Easy, and it's just about her time working at a greasy spoon diner with a bunch of crazy people in the 70s when she was an art student. And it's just that story. Okay. Look how thick it is. And it was called Over Easy. This one's called The Customer Is Always Wrong. Okay. And there's a bunch of them, and I'll talk about them later, but I love the personal aspect of them. Okay. And here's what I want to avoid with that. People will go, okay, here's my personal story. I'm walking down the street and I get bit by a irradiated wolf, and now I'm some sort of wolf superhero. I don't want that kind of crap. Okay. And I get that all the time. I actually haven't gotten it too much in here. I get it in other classes, and here I haven't. But I don't care what the story is, to be honest with you. What I want to start going through is the narrative process and how we assemble those pages and how many different ways we can do those pages and how many different ways we can approach this and how many different mediums we can approach it in. And you're going to get your own creative ideas in it. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if we have like our own comic idea already and we want to kind of start solidifying that, can we use that
comic
project?
Idea?
Like I wanted to do like a webtoon about my little turtle character, and I have like a script and everything with dialogue and
what is the turtle? Is it a superhero?
No.
Well, okay. Well, we'll talk about it. I don't want anything
Okay.
that stinks of superhero.
It's nothing to do with superhero, no superpowers. It's a little turtle who gets woken up from his nap and has to help out his friends.
Okay, that might work. That totally might work.
It's not superhero, no superpowers. It's
and by the way, this isn't a children's thing.
turtle.
It's your own thing. I don't care really about the story. I want to there's a bunch of, it's a very open canvas. Okay. It's your own story and everything. Cause I want to give you a project after this one where I'm not driving the narrative at all. Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you didn't mean personal by like, I know you said no, like personal stuff, but like the example
you
you
could
just
do
showed
that
was
too. Like somebody else did something on their grandmother's backyard. It was this magical place and they did that. I would probably, if I did one, I mean, there's a bunch of things I could do graphic novels on. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
A bunch of personal stories and things like that. They don't have to be. They could be anything. I did this. This is more of a children's book, but years ago, I don't know if I said this in here. When me and my ex-girlfriend broke up and we're apart for a long time, And then somehow we started talking, I don't know how, and she was going to Paris. Okay. So I drew this thing of her in front of the plane, you know, with her arms up, and said something about her going to Paris. Right. And that just, and this always happens with me. And then she was like, she liked it. And then I go, and then the day I sent her a drawing of, she lands in Paris and she meets this, because she was a total cat person. She meets this amazing cat fashion world. And she just, and every day I sent her an episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just kept unraveling. And by the time I got done with it, you know, it went on for a long time. When we were kind of get back together or whatever. But, and then when she put it together, when I went over to her house later, she had put it like in one of those, like fold out, what do you call that? Like a fold out book.
Like,
and when I saw it all together,
kind of like a zine?
I go, that's a children's book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just happened without thinking about it, you know? And it's the same way with just stories in general, with like graphic novels and things like that. It's the same thing. All right. So the reason I tell you so far out front is I want to give you a lot of time to let it percolate. I want to give you a lot of time to ask questions about it. I want to be able to bring stuff in here and go, hey, check this out. I want to leapfrog in front all the time. So I feel like that's actually giving you a better chance to do a nice piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't like springing things on people. I just don't like doing that. It doesn't make sense to me. And if I give you some time to really think about it, as we're working on this project, once in a while, you might go, hey, I got this idea for this. And what do you think of it? Whatever, you know, and I can start showing you other things also. So you're not going, why is he all of a sudden showing us a weird graphic novel? You know what I mean? I want the conversation rolling towards the next project also. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to try and fix my computer.
So what should we have by Wednesday, Mike?
Wednesday, I just
alligator in space.
If I didn't see your stuff yet, don't worry about anything. I'm just going to look at those. And if we talked about yours, just start making the changes we talked about, or the revisions, or the new ideas, or the whatever. Okay. I'm not going to give you a specific number. Okay. I don't look. This is the same thing I used to tell people I worked with, or I worked for me. When they got there the first day, I would go, here's how it works. I go, we kind of usually wander in here around, let's say 9. I go, if you go way off track of that, I go, I don't care. I don't want to micromanage you. And I don't. But I always told them, I go, look, if you act like a child, I will be all over you like a micromanaging parent. Does that make sense? I go, manage your stuff, get your work done, and I'm off your back. As long as you're getting your work done, I'm cool. And that's what I want here. I want a more professional thing where you guys are just working through your problems as you need to. And by the way, sometimes you are going to do 3 and go, bingo, that's it. Does that make sense? That's almost never going to happen on the first round like we're going through right now. But on the second round, it could definitely happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll say about that, I mean, after you've done a lot of work, you'll probably know. But what I've always said about this is, this always happens to me. I knock out 2 or 3 thumbnails and I go, that's it. Like the third one, let's say. And I go, I think that's it. And then I do 25 more. Because how do I know if that's it if I don't do more? Right? And then guaranteed, every time I get to that, and I'm just throwing 25 out as a number. By the time I get to that 25th drawing or thumbnail, then I go, how did I even think that was a good idea? You know what I mean? Because now I've gone through the process and I go, that wasn't even a good idea. It was underdeveloped. It's not that good. And this idea is 10 times better because I had to work to get there. But now I've got a contrast that shows me that's not a great idea. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, guys, I'll go through everything. Don't worry about the grade thing. I'll do it on Wednesday. And I'll grade everybody at the same time. By the way, it's very simple. You do your thumbnails, you get 10 points, and that's that. Okay? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mike.
It's an exercise, not a project. Yeah.
Sure. For like, you know how you see in the next project, you're going to want everyone to start talking about that, you know, making our own narrative on the next project that's coming up. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a good time to maybe use the class Discord to discuss that.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Throw your ideas back and forth. Absolutely. Okay. Collaborating, and it's not even collaborating. Just say, what do you guys think? You know, but here's what I'd say on that. I used to always have people on my teams that I call barometers. I don't know if I ever said this in here. There were barometers. Okay. Here's what a lot of people will do. Hey, what do you think of this? And they go, oh, you're asking my opinion? Well, then I have to have an opinion. I have to say something. See how that's on top? Move it on the bottom. Okay. That's a person that I identify right off and go, you just say stuff to say stuff. Okay. But then I had people worked on the team where they would go, here's how I'd always know. At some point I go, hey, what do you think of this? And they go, oh, that's great. That's done. Or they go, that's not that great, but what if you did this? Or that's just not a very good idea. Okay. They're not afraid to tell you. They'll tell you when something is finished and it doesn't need an opinion. So anyway, you get people that are very good at kind of giving you a second opinion that you trust. Does that make sense? Always find those people and learn to find them now. Okay. Because most people will just make comments to make comments. Okay. And I had a guy that worked for me, by the way, and he had just started working for me. And I went, and he was working on something I'd asked him to, and he goes, hey, you want to see it? And I go over and look at it, and I go, it's done. And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, it's done. And he goes, really? You don't have any comments on it? This is the environment he came from, where he was working with some idiot art director who had to put his fingerprints all over everything. And I go, it's done, Henry, it's finished. And he's like, yeah. And he kept arguing with me about it. He goes, aren't you going to make some, I go, do you want me to sit here and make superfluous comments so you can work on it some more? Is that what you want me to do? I go, because it's done. And here's how this works in the commercial world. It's done. It's off my plate. Now I can give you another assignment and we can move forward. You know what I mean? And he couldn't comprehend that somebody would just say it's done. Does that make sense? You want to find the people who tell you when something's done and the people who will tell you when it's not done and so on and so forth. And you can trust their opinion, right? And a lot of them will be in this classroom. Okay. Because one thing I've seen about you guys at this school is you guys are really good about talking to each other and not being jerks and being helpful. I've seen that a lot. Okay. So Wednesday, make your changes and whatever we're doing. And then if I haven't looked at your stuff yet, don't worry about anything. I got to look at your stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. I will see you on Wednesday.
Thanks,
Hopefully
Mike.
my computer.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you guys. And I'll put this up.
Thank you.
Oh, we do the thumbnails.